a sip of tea in the NFL with Baltimore and Washington, and then was going to play with Los Angeles in the XFL, and then COVID hit, and they folded and all that. So he finds himself now back home, but supremely talented, and he won the quarterbacking competition, the starting job, over Stephen Cologne, who was a solid quarterback that they have as well. So look to see both of those guys tonight.
All right, let's talk about some of the keys to the game tonight. Really, for the Tornadoes, get a lead early, and I think that can really set the tone. And that kind of goes back to that game against Georgina, which was the last time the Tornadoes played, and that was now two Saturdays ago, essentially 3 weeks ago now. And surprisingly, Georgina took a lead in that first half. Tampa Bay came out very effectively, scored 2 touchdowns, had an early lead, and then seemed to kind of have a letdown. And boy, if they have a letdown at all tonight against the Thunder, you know that they will be able to exploit that, and the Tornadoes just might not be able to recover. Maintain the pace. I think, again, that kind of goes back to the Georgina game. They came out quick, scored touchdowns on their first 2 possessions, really looked like they were going to roll to an easy win, and then just had some miscues, some defensive breakdowns that were a little uncharacteristic, and Georgina really kind of slowed the game down, ran the ball much more than you often see in arena football, because their offense just was not as sophisticated as the Tornadoes, and so they wanted to slow the game down. So the Tornadoes, well, I don't think they want to get into a track meet necessarily with the Thunder and go possession for possession. They certainly do want to keep a good pace throughout all 4 quarters and play as a unit. Those defensive breakdowns were really troubling to the Tornadoes coaching staff. As we said, the Lions didn't have the talent to match offensively the Tornadoes defense, but they ran one particular play about 3 or 4 times, the same play, where they would overload all 3 receivers to one side of the field and then just kind of sneak the running back out into the opposite flat. And the defense did not do a good job adjusting and reading to that, and that's how the Georgina really moved the ball and scored their points. So I know that the Tornadoes, during their preparation, which was pretty intense this week, this is one of the few weeks that they have practiced every single day in getting ready for tonight's game. They want to make sure they're doing a better job of recognizing what they're seeing as a unit and reacting to that appropriately, and that might be able to keep the Thunder, let's say, in the 40s or 50s, which is probably where they're going to have to keep them to have a chance to win tonight. And Mike, you know the Thunder well, and you know some of the things that they've worked on and talked about this week, and take us through some of their keys here tonight.
Well, in looking at the keys that are on the screen here, pressuring Carnes, that's going to fall on the Thunder defensive front, and they have been outstanding so far this season. Multiple players with multiple sacks across either the front line or even the linebacker positions. So look for that to be prominent tonight for the Thunder defensively. Disrupt the scoring. Obviously, you want to have that pressure, and all the pressure comes from up front. But the guys in the back end, specifically wearing number 20 tonight, Artie Holmes, he had a pick 6 last week against South Carolina. He is very disruptive, and he's usually the guy that is following any receiver in motion. That's his job. That's his responsibility. So those will be a matchup to watch as well. And then closing the Barnes door.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you need to say much more than that, but. You know, I think when you look at what the Thunder have done to this point in their 2 games, they've executed at a high level against a couple of teams that aren't up to snuff with Tampa, and we're going to see the Tornadoes and the Thunder in this battle of weather anomalies get it on.
And it's kind of stormy outside. No tornado warnings, but we do have some showers and thunderstorms in the area, and we do expect a lot of stormy action inside here tonight as these 2 undefeated teams match up at 2-0 at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. One other thing I wanted to ask you real quick before we go back to Gabrielle Shirley is the Thunder really haven't been tested. I mean, the Tornadoes, a couple of touchdown wins in both of their 45-21, 48-20. I mean, not real close, but they were competitive games into the second half, certainly. Your thoughts as how the Thunder will react if they kind of get punched in the mouth a little bit early tonight by a better Tornadoes team than they've seen so far?
That is going to be something that I'm going to be watching with a lot of interest because, again, they fell behind to Pennsylvania Union in their opener, 7-0. And then they ripped off 28, 30 some odd points straight before Pennsylvania got back in the end zone. So they have been behind, but not for very long. But then again, they haven't been pushed. and I think that they're going to get their first taste of being pushed tonight, and how they react, how they respond will say a lot in how this game in the first quarter. If it starts to go south on the Thunder, we'll see how they respond, and that's going to tell really the story and how the rest of the game is going to go.
Yeah, and I think there's a similar question for the Tornadoes tonight, and that is that they have not played in 2 full weeks. This is their first game since late March, and that can go both ways too.
Yep.
They certainly wanted to regroup after that Georgina effort. As we said, it was pretty uneven, and there were some things they really wanted as a coaching staff and as a team to clean up, but you also like to put those things into practice in an actual game situation at some point, maybe before you play a team the caliber of the Charlotte Thunder. And so I'm not sure. We'll see about that start in the first quarter to see just how sharp the Thunder and the Tornadoes really are, and see if the Tornadoes are able to pick up on some of those mistakes and correct them from a few weeks ago. So that's the scene here from the RP Funding Center. We're just a couple of minutes away from the opening lineups and kickoff. Let's send it back down to News Channel 8's Gabrielle Shirley.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to touch on what you guys were just talking about, how the Thunder are going to handle how the Tornadoes are going to handle a very good Charlotte Thunder team. I talked to the kicker, the Tornadoes kicker, Zach Samaglia, and said, hey, 3 weeks, what are you worried about anything? This team is very good. And he said, you know what? We are very excited to just raise our game. We're going to take it to the next level because we think that is what is required when a team like this comes into town. So he said he was very excited. His team is all on the same page. So I'm thinking, again, it's going to be very, very competitive. Another thing that I want you guys to know, everyone out there watching, you can still come to this game. It hasn't started just yet, and there is a special promotion tonight. One paying adult gets kids in for free. 2 kids, 17 years of age and younger. The only thing you have to remember, those kids, they have to be wearing a football jersey. It can be any jersey. It doesn't have to be Tornadoes related. It can be anything. So that's a pretty fun, exciting promotion here tonight. And hey guys, introductions, they are coming up. Oh, I hear it right now. We'll be right back.
We're coached by Jermaine Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, the Charlotte Thunder.
From the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida, it's Saturday Night Football, Florida style, as the Tampa Bay Tornadoes host the Charlotte Thunder. I'm Brian Ackley along with Mike Solarte. And Mike, we've been looking forward to this one for a long time. 2 undefeated teams, even though it's very early in the season. This is the kind of game that can set the tone for the remainder of a regular season, can have a lot of playoff implications, and we expect a lot of fireworks, don't we?
Absolutely. We expect a lot of fireworks, but we're also going to see both of these teams really pushed for the first time. I don't think, in the pregame, we discussed this, that the Tornadoes haven't really been pushed in their first 2, and the Thunder certainly have not been pushed in their first 2 games. You're going to see 2 good teams finally seeing some good competition across from themselves.
Yeah, as much as we've looked forward to it, the players have looked forward to it even more. Let's head down to the field and meet the Tornadoes. I know the Rockers on the other side. Thank you.
And wide receiver, number 2, Chris Murray. Number 3, Ricardo Brown. And number 4, Jonell Barnes. And running back number 21, Josh Hill. And offensive line, number 72, Bentley Easley. Number 77, Justo Palanca. And number 88, Junko Barra. And your quarterback, number 7, Breon Carr. The head coach of your Tornadoes is Stevie Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, your Tampa Bay Tornadoes. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you all please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
All right, just a minute or two away from kickoff here in Central Florida tonight. The Tornadoes and Thunder getting ready to tee it up. Mike Solarte along with Brian Ackley. Good to have you with us. as we get ready for live American Arena League football. We've talked, Mike, a lot about the quarterbacks and a couple other players. How about an X factor tonight for you tonight from the Thunder?
Well, I think when you look at this offense for the Thunder, it's a new wide receiver group that we've seen with a couple of players that have been brought in, and as you caught me off guard, so that's a strike against me.
That's okay.
New receiver group. You're going to see number 3 Perry Floyd and number 0 Devin Mackey stepping into roles in the wide receiver group. Daniel Lee and Trey Lancaster, the other 2 wide receivers that are going to go tonight. They played this season. But Floyd and Mackey especially, Coach Jermaine Smith mentioning today that Mackey's a big body guy, good blocker, and he's been involved in Coach Irvin Bryson's system for 3 years. So he's very familiar with what they want to do and how they want to run their offense. So that, if you're looking for an X factor, I'd say that wide receiver group tonight.
And that's funny because it's exactly what I was thinking in terms of the Thunder, because without Workman here tonight, no Ramel Workman, who had that 4 touchdown game in the season opening win for the Thunder over the Carolina Predators, 48-20. He is not here tonight, and so that will give an opportunity to a couple other receivers, I think, that may step up. Gabby mentioned one of them, number 6 to look for, Chad Rex at wide receiver. Another could be number 11, Andre Davis, who Tampa Bay fans may very well recognize that name. He was a standout at the University of South Florida back in the early 2010s. So I think you're right. I think there's an opportunity for maybe some guys that haven't had that offensive limelight to step forward tonight at that wide receiver position. Another name to remember for the Tornadoes is running back Josh Hicks. He scored last week on the ground, is an effective runner when they want to try and run the football, and on short yardage situations, they're not afraid to certainly give him the ball. So we'll keep an eye on number 21, Josh Hicks, even though running is not typically a big key component of arena football. Hicks can make it so, and so we'll keep an eye on him tonight as well.
On the flip side of that, running the football aspect, well, that's something that the Thunder actually enjoy doing in this, which, as you say, it's kind of an outside style of offense, but they've got a very talented running back in David Ham, number 10. Ham spent some time with the Raiders in camp in the NFL. He's a loaded with talent kind of guy, very explosive, very tough when running, you like to say between the tackles,
right, yeah.
But there's only three linemen, but very tough. He gets those tough yards, loves the contact, and when he can find a seam, he can go.
Yeah, that's an important aspect. Both power and speed are attributes you want in a running back in this game, not just one or the other. And I think it all goes to say that there's a lot of talent on both of these rosters. And so this is a game that probably you're going to need 55 or 60 points to win. I don't think it's going to be a 30 or 40-point kind of night that'll win it. And so the Tornadoes, who had 45 in their season opener and 48 in their second game, are going to have to up it offensively. And I think especially, again, early on. They were really off to a slow start last week, and they really need to, or last time out here, and they really need to avoid that here tonight. If they get down by, 3 touchdowns or something in the first quarter, I'm not sure they're just going to have enough to try and make that up, because trying to get 2 or 3 stops in a row defensively in this game is really difficult. So ball is in the air, and it is over the wall, so Hicks won't get a chance to return it, and the Tornadoes will go on offense here for the first time on this Saturday night in Central Florida.
Eric Amaya, the kicker for the Thunder, just put it over the wall, as you said, and Amaya last week was slammed into the wall on a botched extra point attempt.
Wow.
There was some concern for his health this week. Doctor said he had some bruised ribs, and he told me after pregame warm-ups he's healed quickly over the week. He's about 90-95%. He feels the most pinch is on those kickoffs, and he drove that one over the wall. So if he's feeling a pinch, he's going to deal with it. And he looked pretty good there to start things off.
Yep, good sign for Amaya for sure. So the Tornado will start 1st and 10 at their own 20. 2 wide receivers left, 1 to the right. Now the motion man is Chris Murray. He's new here tonight for the Tornadoes. There's the handoff on the delay to Hicks, a direct snap actually, and Hicks gets it out to about the 22-23 yard line. So a little trickery right off the bat here for the Tornado. But Chris Murray, another one wearing number 2, that is getting the start at wide receiver tonight. Barnes is out there, Jonell Barnes, and Ricardo Brown, number 3. Also, all 3 now lined up to the right side of the formation. Hicks on the left hip of Carnes, and that snap is mishandled by Carnes all the way back at the 10, and he will just throw it over the sideboards. So a miscue early and a flag now, as there really was not any Tornadoes player. About the closest player was somewhere around Temple Terrace, I think, when he threw that.
Yeah, he threw it directly into the Thunder bench. That was a business decision.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. But you can see, in that play right there, you make the slightest mistake, and that Thunder defense pounces. If there was heavy pursuit on the quarterback there, and he had to make that business decision, and I'm not sure what the call is going to be here. If it's going to be a grounding call or whatever. I don't think there's anything that the Thunder did on that play.
No.
So,
this is definitely going to be.
It should be on the Tornadoes.
Yeah, definitely against the Tornadoes. Yeah. If they accept, and there'd be no reason not to, they will in fact step it back all the way inside the 10, all the way down to looks to be about the 8-yard line.
So those are plays that the Tornadoes have to eliminate, because they will have white jerseys in their face all night with any kind of miscue.
Grounding is the call. It's a loss of down, so it brings up 3rd and a bunch now here for the Tornadoes. 3rd and about 23. This time they'll send all 3 wide receivers to the left. Let's see if the offensive line can give Carnes a little time here to find somebody. Again, a direct snap and a fumble, and it's recovered by Carolina. Boy, 2 back-to-back mistakes, and Jimmy Thomas, the defensive end, pounces on that one, and Carolina will have a 1st and goal at the Tampa Bay 3. Boy, 2 back-to-back mistakes for the Tornadoes.
But that's exactly what the Thunder wanted to have happen to start the game, is to have their defense make a big play, make something happen. They force a penalty on a grounding play, and then the next snap ends up being a fumble, gives the Thunder field position inside the 5, and no field to drive. It's the shortest. Almost the shortest possible field to start with.
Well, that's about as bad as it can get for the Tornadoes as they give it up on their own 3-yard line. Now here's motion. The quarterback going to keep it, McClendon, and he's in untouched. Boy, that's too easy for Jalen McClendon. And just like that, on the first play from scrimmage after the turnover, Carolina has a 6-0 lead.
Well, and you saw as everything started to wash to the right, that running back, David Hammond, we talked about in the pregame, he was key in helping to push that pile and give that lane to McClendon there. And that's something that Jermaine Smith, tonight's head coach, told me was something that Ham has really improved upon for the arena game. It's obviously much different than the outdoor 11-on-11, and he's done a nice job in adapting and making the adjustments to get himself to become a better blocker.
Amaya has the extra point true and through, and so less than 3 minutes into the first quarter, the Tornadoes find themselves already on the short end of a 7-0 score. And that is about as bad a start as you can have, as the grounding penalty, and then they tried that direct snap to Hicks a second time. It was exactly the same play they ran on first down for only about 3 or 4 yards, but it was clean. But this one, the bad snap on second down to Carnes, the quarterback, resulting in the loss and the eventual penalty, and then the mishandled snap to Hicks. I don't know how bad either of those snaps really were. They were in the vicinity, certainly, of Carnes and Hicks on that 2nd and 3rd down play, but nonetheless, the Tornadoes not able to execute, and the Thunder take advantage, as a good team should. So 7-0 Carolina here, or Charlotte rather, right out of the gate. See if the Tornadoes can come up with an answer. They need one. This is not a game where I don't think either team can afford to get too far behind. Hicks will take it 5 yards deep in his end zone. Dances out to the 5, makes a move at the 10, spins, still on his feet, spins a second time, and gets out to about the 16-yard line. Nice return by Hicks as he broke several tackles with a couple of spinoramas in there. and ends up finally being taken down. They'll mark him officially at the 15. So second possession of the game now for the Tornadoes.
I don't know if you noticed before Amaya kicked that off, the players slapping the foam pad, the padding on the walls there. That's a first. They hadn't done that this season. So that tells me that the guys in the white jerseys are very much engaged and are into this ball game early on.
Well, you would hope and think that Tornadoes would be equally as engaged here. That time a good pass from center. Karn's going to fire, and he throws that one into the turf.
Looked like it might have been tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it might have been, because that was well short of the intended receiver on the far sideline in front of the Tornado bench. John L. Barnes was the man that Karns was looking for. Their connection was on big display 3 weeks ago here in a big win over Georgina. Again, a bobbled snap, and again Hicks is going to go down. And my goodness, Tampa Bay is going to have to change something here. Yeah, they don't look, Mike, like they're bad snaps necessarily. They're just being mishandled in the backfield when it either gets to Karns or now Hicks twice.
It's the exchanges aren't clean.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's the right idea to get the play going, but the exchanges aren't crisp, and that is giving the Thunder that half-second burst for a guy like Jimmy Thomas to get back there and blow the play up.
Crazy. So again, 3rd and long now, not as bad as the Tornadoes had on their first possession, but it's 3rd and 15 from their own 10. 2 wide receivers left, 1 right. Karns from the shotgun. He's going to roll, he's going to fire, and we'll see if it's a completion on the near sideline here. Brown was the intended receiver. They'll say good catch at the 20. So they pick up 10 of the 15 that they need, but it'll bring up a 4th and 5 here now. And let's see what the Tornado want to do. A couple of weeks ago, they would put it in the feet, if you will, of their kicker, Zach Samaglia. But it looks like they're going to go for it here. So big early play in this one.
And watching Samaglia in warm-ups, I mean, they could send him down. They could send him to Epcot, and he could kick it through.
He's got the leg, no question. But Tampa Bay is going to be penalized, and that may change the thinking here. False start called, and that will turn a 4th and 5 into a 4th and 10.
Yeah, and Brian, we talked about how teams would respond in the first quarter to adversity, getting punched in the mouth, and it seems so far the Tornadoes are maybe not settled. They're not locked in to this game where we've only really seen the Thunder defense so far to this point.
Going to go for it now on 4th and 10 from their own 15. Karns has some time, looks, fires, and has a man. It should be a first down. That is Chris Murray on the catch, and he is just across the midfield stripe, and a big 4th down conversion for the Tornadoes.
You know, it was interesting, too, in watching the official mark the spot of the ball.
That was close.
Well, honestly, they're shorting him a yard.
They did,
The catch was across midfield.
It was, but the important thing for the Tornadoes, at least, is it's a fresh set of downs.
Right.
So the extra yard that they were shorted isn't going to matter, at least for the moment, but you're right. He definitely had that extra yard into Charlotte territory. Karns again now will roll to his right. Looks, fires, and it is complete down at the 10-yard line. Great catch. Chris Murray took it off his shoe tops.
I wasn't sure that he actually brought that in.
That's the best reception of the game by far, as Karns put the fastball right at his shoe tops, and Murray was able to hold on at the 10. So it's 1st and goal right at the 10-yard line. 3 wideouts this time, all to the right. Hicks to the right of Karns. He'll take the handoff up the middle. Dances down to about the 7 and under tackle by a number of Thunder players there. And John Gibson among them. And we've got a media timeout on the floor, so both teams will get a chance to talk things over here, as the Tornadoes will be looking at about a 2nd and 7. 2nd and goal from the 7. And boy, what a big 4th down conversion that was early, Mike, for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, a wonderful throw, and the defender not able to cut down the route in time. And as a result, you get the great first down catch to set up the 1st and goal with a catch that neither one of us really believed happened. But you're starting on that last play, you started to see the Thunder defensive front. Raleigh White, number 92, is a guy that loves to get in there and mix things up. And he was the one that got the first lick on Hicks and was able to slow that progression down. So I think you're gonna have to see the Thunder now, if they want to, hold the Tornadoes to a field goal, is they're going to have to try to bring some pressure on the quarterback to make him make a mistake, because that's what worked to this point, as we've got 8:16 left in the first quarter in a 7-0 game. That defensive front has played very, very well all season long, and they're doing it again tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Carnes has settled in a little better here after that first possession. Those 2 big catches, especially that one on 4th down, boosting the confidence a little bit. So we'll see what the coaching staff has dialed up here on 2nd and 7. Carnes again with some time, looks, fires, and that is blocked, or tipped rather. Nice defensive play in there by number 14, Reggie Thomas, the defensive back, able to seriously deflect that at the goal line. And maybe lucky that it wasn't intercepted.
Yeah, Carnes tried to throw the heater in there and getting the hands up at the last second, but that's all you got to do. Just that little deflection was enough to make the pass fly out of bounds.
That was one of those that Carnes needed to kind of float over the defensive back instead of throw it through Thomas, and he just didn't get his hands up quite in time to make the interception, but in time to make the deflection. Now Carnes under center, gives the handoff to Hicks. He bobbles it again, and Hicks is stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Again, a play that was not clean and that did really not have a chance for success for the Tornadoes because of the bobble.
They are really having trouble with the exchanges
really unusual.
Tonight.
I don't get it.
It's uncanny. The execution is right there. If these exchanges are clean, the Tornadoes are moving.
Too quick a game, too close a game to have any kind of a bobble at all like that. That just blows up the play immediately, and we've seen that now 3 times from the Tornadoes here in their first 2 possessions. They're going to go for it here on 4th and 9 from the 9. 2 wideouts right, 1 left. One thing the Tornadoes, I was just going to say, haven't shown us a lot of motion. Now Brown does go in motion. Carnes has the snap, looks, has some time, fires to the end zone, incomplete.
Artie Holmes, number 20, getting the right hand up there to make the deflection at the last second. And that's a turnover on downs. That's big for the Charlotte Thunder, as they'll take over, and their offense will actually have a full set of downs and a full field to work with for the first time tonight.
And that was Andre Davis, the USF standout, that was the intended target there at the back line. And so the Tornadoes drive inside the Thunder 10, but give it up on downs, and now we'll need an early defensive stand.
You know, like we said, and I keep going back to the pregame where we talked about how will teams react.
Yeah.
The thing that's maybe standing out to me right now is that the Tornadoes are not necessarily they haven't seen this kind of speed. And the Thunder defense playing so very fast in the first quarter.
Yeah, great point, actually. McClendon on the roll. He's in trouble, and 3, and he fumbles the football. It's going to be recovered by the Thunder. But a whole bunch of Tornadoes in there to create the almost turnover. Jordan Guest among them. And fortunately for Charlotte, they were able to recover that loose ball.
Trey Teasley able to fall on that one, number 90. And he was Johnny on the spot there. McClendon usually doesn't find himself in that kind of trouble, but he was able to get away and try to pick something up, but then he lost the ball, and the forward progress was negated by the fumble.
Only a loss of a couple. So 2nd down, pass is complete, and that is going to be a little bit short of a first down. And I got to confess, I don't have a number 0 on my roster.
Devin Mackey,
Thank you.
the new guy.
Devin Mackey is the target man, picks up about 9, so it'll bring up a 3rd and we'll call it 3 from about the 16.
He's a receiver the Thunder like. He's been around their program. Big burly guy, physical receiver. He's a great 3rd down option.
Let's see if they keep it on the ground here. They will. And there's Ham across the 20 into Tornado territory, still on his feet, and finally dragged down inside the 10 at about the Tornado 9. Nice run.
David Ham loves loves the contact.
Yeah, you can see this talent on that play right there. Just a little bit of delay when he got the handoff to find the crease, and then he was through it and gone. So Ham with a big run, and for the second time here in the first quarter, Charlotte inside the Tampa Bay 10. First and goal at the 9. Ham going to get the handoff again, and this time he's not going to find much running room at all. Terry Johnson got into the backfield and busted that play up before it had any chance to really start. No gain.
You know, as we talked about it, running the ball isn't necessarily in vogue in the arena game, but when you notice the Thunder, they do a lot of what looks like read option stuff. So they take the run game and take it to a whole nother level as we come up on 4 minutes left in the first quarter.
McClendon will operate from the shotgun here. Mackey in action, drops the snap, and he's just going to fall on it to keep possession for the Thunder. So Charlotte with a little bit of a problem on the exchange as well now.
And, you know, the Thunder had that kind of problem on special teams last week. They were having trouble getting the ball from the center to the holder on extra points, and now we're seeing it out of the shotgun. And, you know, this is something that Jalen McClendon and the coaches are going to talk about, but that was something that was a point of emphasis to get cleaned up this week in practice heading into this game.
That'll bring up a third and goal now from the 12. 2 wide outs right, 1 to the left. Now they'll bring the motion man to the right as well, flooding that side of the field. McClendon back to throw, in some trouble, gets it away, has a wide open man. That's Lancaster, and he's driven to the boards and out of bounds inside the 5, all the way down to about the 2-yard line. Trey Lancaster picks up 10.
You can see the arm strength of McClendon there in the grasp of the defender. The linebacker had a beat on him, and yet he was able to get that ball out with accuracy and really good touch. Didn't put a burner on Lancaster, just got it in his hands and let him take it the rest of the way to get the first down and put him in position here on a first and goal.
Big play here, fourth and goal from the 2. Let's see if it's Ham or they want to put it up top. They're going to keep it in McClendon's hands, and he dives, and he did not make it. He was stopped just short of the goal line at about the half-yard line.
Well,
good they're going to give him the touchdown. Holy cow.
I think at the end there he stretched the arm out and broke the plane. It was tough to see, but I could see it looked like in his body language as he was going to the line, it looked like he was trying to extend that right arm to get the ball across the goal line, and that's the ruling on the field.
Well, we'll look at the replay after the extra point try. If I'm Tampa Bay, I'm thinking I made the stop, but you might be right, Mike. We'll look on the replay. McClendon's a tall, kind of a slender quarterback, so he has that reach. Amaya on the way. He actually hits the upright, and it's no good. So the extra point is missed, and the Charlotte Thunder will lead it 13-0. And let's don't know if we'll have that replay or not for that touchdown, but it's going to count regardless. Yeah, here's the replay. Mike, let's take play here. Take a look from the 2. Let's see if it's Ham. If we think they want to put it up top, they're going to keep it in McClendon's hands, and he dives, and he did not make it. Yep. He was stopped. He probably did.
Just that last effort as he was going to the turf to flick the wrist and the ball forward.
About half a football over the line there. So good call by the officials, and Charlotte now leads it 13-0, and getting the sense right away here that the Tornadoes need a response.
Well, you touched on McClendon and his size. I mean, he's a 6'4" quarterback who can see the field. He's got that beautiful arm that we talked about, and he's got the mobility because he's a slender guy at 216. So the fact that he was able to dart in and just find enough room that he could flash the football over the line is really one of the reasons why he was named their starting quarterback.
Yeah, and just enough room. The operative words there is he got just about half the football over the goal line, but it counts, and it's a 13-0 Charlotte advantage. Amaya will have it teed up. Hicks will again be the deep man here for Tampa Bay. Tornadoes trail it now 13-0. And that one will go over the end line, and it'll be a Tornado drive start out at their 20-yard line. The 2-0 Tampa Bay Tornadoes and the 2-0 Charlotte Thunder here at the RP Funding Center in Central Florida tonight. American Arena League action. As these two teams, who knows, may see each other down the line later this year as well. We'll see
They are going to have. They do meet again at the end of the regular season.
Yeah,
but
I'm thinking postseason.
Right,
we know they'll play at least one more time.
And the thing is what these teams are now will be completely different.
Likely.
When we see that when these two teams meet again at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, at least some of them. I'll bet on Breon Carnes being here, but
oh no, I'm not saying that personnel.
Yeah.
I mean their execution.
Oh, just in terms
they'll play. They'll improve. They'll play better.
Yeah, no doubt.
Again, as we talked about it before, these two teams really haven't played stiff competition. This is the best competition either side's faced all year long.
Delay a game called against the Tornadoes, so that'll cost them 5 back to the 15. 2 wideouts left, 1 to the right. Motion man now is Chris Murray. He'll stay on the left side of the formation. Carnes a straight drop, going to step up, throws, had a man, but good defensive play. Again, a block about halfway to the receiver. This time it was Reggie Thomas again stepping in front of that pass, and again almost had an interception.
Yeah, Reggie Thomas again finding himself in the lane, and it's almost like they're spying.
I was going to say, Breon Carnes having some difficulty picking up some of those defenders because he's had several that have been pretty much thrown right at Charlotte defenders that he may or may not have seen. It didn't look like he knew Thomas was in that passing lane there. His man was wide open out at the 25, but a couple of times Carnes has needed the change-up, and he's thrown the fastball. Carnes back to throw it again, fires over the middle, has a completion. First down and more. This is Maurice Dupree with his first catch inside the 10, and the Tornadoes, with their biggest play of the game, will have a first and goal at the Thunder 10.
Terrific play there by Carnes because TJ Warren, number 9, was on a delayed blitz coming around the left side of the line, and that allowed the receiver that extra space in the flat. Made a great play and picked up all the extra yards after catch down to the 10-yard line. And
one of the things, as we've seen tonight and seen earlier this year, Carnes good at creating that extra half second, maybe extra second with a little sidestep, maybe just a 1 or 2 step left or right out of the pocket to give him a little space. Carnes again will look. He'll throw it out in the right flat, has the completion again. I think it's Dupree again, and he's run out of bounds after a relatively short game.
Yeah, Carlo Thomas in there to make the stop as we are getting ready to run out of time here in the first quarter.
The Tornadoes threatening, and they need an answer. They have not put any points on the board, and they will get a chance to do so at the start of the second quarter. So 15 minutes in the books here at the RP Funding Center. It is the Charlotte Thunder 13, the Tampa Bay Tornadoes no score. We will be back with more AAL football in just a moment. So the Tornadoes threatening here to start the second quarter. Second and goal at, we'll call it the 8-yard line. 2 wide receivers left, including the man who's had the last 2 catches, Maurice Dupree. He's the man in motion now. Carnes will look Dupree's way, and it's knocked away. Nice defensive recovery by Artie Holmes. Been impressed so far, Mike, with these defensive backs for the Thunder.
Yeah, Artie Holmes is a guy we actually turned a feature on this week. And he's a Charlotte native, went to West Charlotte High School, went to Marshall University, but came back to his hometown of Charlotte to be a part of the inaugural Charlotte 49er football program. They had just started football. He was part of the group that practiced, worked out, and played before they even had a season. He had to wait a full year, before he could actually play a game for his hometown team.
Good defensive play, little delay handoff to Hicks, and nothing happening as Raleigh White was all over that play before Hicks even had the handoff. So it'll bring up 4th and goal from the 10, and we talked about the fact that Hicks might be an X factor here tonight, but my goodness, he has just not been able to get started with any of those runs at all, and White made sure he was going nowhere that time.
I think to your point, Brian, I think that the Tornadoes offense is just having a hard time getting started because it's almost like they're stuck in neutral. Some sloppy exchanges, they're not very crisp in their execution, and it's left to Simaglia now for a 25-yard field goal.
Yeah, very uneven start for sure. And the Tornadoes going to elect to try and get the points here. The kick is on the way, and it is good. We do have a flag on the play. I don't know if that's a roughing call perhaps, or we'll see. I don't know if Simaglia got hit or...
The holder actually got blown up.
Okay, well, we'll
Devontae
see.
Adams came in and cleaned out the holder, and I don't think that that's allowed.
Well, we will see what the call is here and whether or not it takes points off the boards and give the Tornado a chance to...
And that's a play, Brian, you don't want to see happen. I mean, sure, you want to try to make the effort to block the kick, but at the same time, you don't want to do something that's going to cost your team and perhaps put the offense back on the field.
So it will be an automatic first down for Tampa.
And it's a roughing the kicker call, although the kicker wasn't touched. It was the holder. Simaglia was untouched on that play. So are they working them as a tandem? That's a call that I'm a little confused on.
Either way, the Tornadoes will take it. They get a first down and goal at the 4. So instead of a 13-3 game, it's still 13-0. But the Tornadoes with a fresh set of downs here to see if they can punch it in and get within a touchdown of the Thunder.
It might be the break that the Tornadoes need.
Yeah, exactly right. A little bit of a high snap. Karn's going to try and keep it, and he is sent to the turf. Boy, Raleigh White, man of the game so far defensively for the Thunder. He was in there again to blow up that play.
Adams very close to a face mask on that play as well. He got his hands, it looked like, in on Carnes' grill and got away with one there. So that's a lucky break for the Thunder. And there's a lot of chirping going on out there tonight, Brian.
I believe it.
The temperature is starting to rise on the field.
I believe that. These two teams have been looking forward to this one, as have the fans here in Central Florida, and I'm sure in Charlotte as well. And around the AAL, been looking forward to it. The Tornadoes trying to find some rhythm here offensively and still searching at the moment. 12.5 minutes to go in the first half. Carnes in some trouble against, escapes, fires, and it is intercepted. And bringing it back out, the Thunder will get a first down at about their own 2, but John Gibson steps in front of that Carnes pass. There is a penalty marker down, back about where Carnes threw it. So I'm not, unless it's a roughing the passer, I followed the pass and didn't look at the end result in the backfield there, but it might be a hold as well. We'll see.
Yeah, Carnes was under a lot of pressure, and I think the desperation hold took place, and Gibson with an unbelievable catch on that interception, the dive, and you know it makes it difficult to find the football, a white football on a white jersey, but he made a heck of a catch.
With the white banners around the board. It was.
And we should say we love to see the boards
absolutely
coated in advertising.
Absolutely.
But what a play by Gibson to stop the Tornadoes and keep them off the scoreboard.
Yeah, big defensive play. So the Thunder back out there offensively. Ham, this time it's a short pickup. Let's take a look at that replay. On the interception by 12.5 minutes to go in the first half. Carnes in some trouble against, escapes, fires,
he steps over and he's going to that turf.
Intercepted.
And is able to reach up because he kind of stumbled on over his own 2 feet, but was able to get the hands up and bring that down and make a dynamite interception there.
Great athletic play by Gibson, and so the Tornadoes still looking for their first points. McClendon has got some time. Fires, has the completion out at the midfield line. And down at the 15, that is Trey Lancaster, but we've got a penalty flag back in the Charlotte backfield.
Jalen McClendon with wonderful touch on the football as he was rolling to his right under duress and just lays a perfect strike in there to Lancaster. And I was following the ball. I wasn't staying behind the play to see why that flag came out.
I wasn't either, so it looks like it's coming back, and it looks like a hold against the Thunder. So
Which would make sense. It would make sense in that spot. Yep.
Marley Conley, the party that drew the flag, so it'll set the Thunder back to their own 5 and bring up a 2nd and 15.
And that's the advantage that the Thunder have in a quarterback like McClendon, his ability to see the field, to read the defense, and then react to it. And more often than not, he does get away without having an offensive lineman commit a penalty like that. That's one of those rare situations.
McClendon from his own end zone, stands tall, stands in the pocket, fires underneath, has a wide open man. It's Lancaster again at the 25, still on his feet, and finally wrestled down at about the 22-yard line.
And you saw what I was talking about with that protection. McClendon had all day to find a receiver and pick him out.
1st and 10, Charlotte.
So Charlotte overcomes the holding penalty, and they get a first down at the Tornadoes 23. Stoppage on the field here for just a moment. And they've got a little problem with the chains on the near sideline. Got to get a kink out there. They do. And so we are back in business. But a big pickup for the Thunder, and the Tornadoes right now need some kind of a defensive stop. They are staring down the barrel of a 3-touchdown deficit here if they do not. And that is not something that is going to be easy to overcome against this Thunder defense, which is already proven to be stingy here in the first half.
And the Thunder offense is now starting to find its sea legs, if you
They've
will.
gotten their rhythm. There's
Yeah.
no question, and there's no question the Tornadoes have not. And the Thunder probably have a lot to do with that. McClendon, 2 wide receivers left. He looks left, steps up in the pocket, now throws right, has the completion.
Devin Mackey again. And all he does is find that soft spot, flash his target, and let a guy like McClendon just feed him.
And a good job by McClendon. Looked left most of the way. Ham with a direct snap drives to the end zone. He'll be short by just a yard. Down
And you'll
to
notice
about
that's
the 1.
excuse me, Brian, that's something that the Thunder like to do is if they can pick up a big chunk play, they're going to run right to the line to try to get another play snapped.
Get that quick snap and try and catch the defense flat-footed, and almost succeeded there. 2nd and goal now from just, we'll call it the 2, but it's closer to the 1.5. 2 wideouts left this time. See if McClendon might just keep it himself here. And we've got a whistle and I think maybe a timeout, Tampa Bay.
Timeout,
at the last
Charlotte.
second, or did Charlotte call it? Okay, Charlotte called it.
Actually, yeah, it was Charlotte.
Something that they apparently didn't like there. So we'll see what the Tornado can dial up defensively here. But, yeah, it just seems like the point you made, Mike, of the rhythm that Charlotte has found. The thing that I've noticed from McClendon is his touch. He's had some passes where, he's had to fire it in there, and he's done that, but he's also had some nice touch passes where they haven't been floated in, but they've got the right speed to find a guy that's open and really puts it right where the guy can catch it and turn and go and not have to worry about, trying to reach down or reach up or reach wide. I mean, he's got the ball right between the numbers.
Well, he throws a very catchable ball.
He does.
In more ways than just the area. The way that McClendon, the way his release, the amount of spin he puts on the – I mean, he can spin it. And that if you're a receiver and you see it coming out of his hand the way it's coming out of his hand, you know that you've got no choice but to catch the thing. Otherwise, he's going to be mad at you, McClendon is going to let you hear about it.
And it's probably going to hit you in the head to boot if you didn't catch it. So,
but
yeah.
The good thing is the ball's a little smaller, and it might stick in their face mask.
All right, well, we'll see if McClendon keeps it or he gives it to Ham. He'll give it to Ham, and that one was well read. Defensive play by Terry Johnson, who's had a couple of good defensive play for the Tornadoes so far here tonight, makes another.
I don't think that the Thunder really committed to that play. You could tell it was very slow in developing, and yeah, sometimes you like to have the running back delay a little bit and find a crease, find a hole. That just it just seemed like it was mush. It never really took a shape.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow motion play offensively, and so Charlotte will get at least 2 more cracks from about the 2. It's 3rd and goal. McClendon going to try and throw it here. That's always tough. Helmet falls off. McClendon scrambling, still scrambling, going to keep it, and finally takes a big shot outside the 6. About 3 Tampa Bay defenders in there, led by Bentley Easley, number 72.
When you look at that last play, well, we got a flag down as well.
And I think
at the
it's
end of
holding,
this.
but we'll see.
When the ball's at the 2-yard line, and you talk about a compressed
not a
red
lot
zone,
of space.
in the NFL, there's just nowhere to go. So in that situation, I was surprised that McClendon actually was in a throwing position, and they didn't just try to run it again.
I was too. I was expecting either a keeper or the second alternative being the handoff to Ham. But with a limited space in the end zone, it really was tough for McClendon to find an open receiver. Couldn't, and ended up eating it and taking a big hit, losing about 4 on the play. Now, there was a holding penalty against
Charlotte.
The Thunder, and the Tornadoes will accept. So it'll step the ball back to about the 12, and it'll bring up a 3rd and goal from about the 12. Well, if there's any good news for Charlotte, Mike, it's they've got more room to operate, but they've got an extra 10 yards to navigate here.
And believe it or not, I mean, that 10-yard penalty, that's a very good point. It may be the best thing to happen for them on this drive.
Certainly opens up the field. Perry Floyd, the man in motion now for the Thunder. Good snap from center. McClendon going to step up, throws incomplete, and almost intercepted. That would have been a big defensive play as Ronnie Scott couldn't hang on at the goal line. He pounds the turf in frustration after that jump ball was anybody's to have at the goal line. Scott was the closest man there, got his hands on it, but could not hold on.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here on the Saturday Night Football replay. The man in motion comes out and gets free. McClendon's got to step up and throws a really good ball in there that Lancaster's got to come up with. If he secures that catch, he can just fall forward and end up scoring the touchdown. Instead, it leads to Eric Amaya now with the ball being placed at about the 19.5 on a field goal attempt.
So Amaya in here for the field goal try, his first of the game. Ball is on the way, and it is good. So the good news for Tampa Bay is they don't give up the touchdown, but Charlotte gets another 3, and they lead at 16-0. So still a two-possession game, as the defense comes up with a big play near the goal line to force the field goal and make it a 16-0 lead for Charlotte, but still get the feeling, Mike, here that this Tampa Bay offense has got to find a way to get points here. You're just not going to win this game by possession after possession, not getting any points on the board.
But as we've seen, Charlotte playing complementary football, defense to offense, the Tornadoes are now starting to feel that a little bit. And now I'd look for the offense for Tampa to find a little bit of momentum and feed off of what the defense just did, because holding Charlotte to 3,
that's a win.
Is
a win.
To this point, with 7 minutes and 20 seconds left in the half, that is definitely a win.
When you have 3rd and goal with 2 and you have to settle for a field goal, that's a defensive win, no question. And the reality is, as tough as it's been offensively for the Tornadoes so far, it's still just a 2-touchdown game or a 2-possession game. So it's not like the Tornadoes have been blown out here, but they have to find some rhythm offensively. Did that one go through for a one-pointer? I think it did. Didn't actually see a signal, but I think it did it? Yep. That's a big point, because it doesn't mean it's a 2-possession game anymore. Not that we're thinking that way yet with 7.5 minutes to go in the first half, but
I like to call that the Uno in
The
Charlotte.
Uno.
That's the second one that Amaya's hit this season. Hit one in the opener.
Don't they call that like the Rouge?
The
in the
Rouge.
CFL?
Well, these guys call it the Uno.
Yeah, right. Right.
But yeah, Coach Bryson calls it the Rouge.
Well, I grew up like 90 miles from the Hamilton Ticats, so that's my. I'm a CFL guy. So 1st and 10 for Tampa Bay from the 5. That's where the ball is placed after an Uno, not the 20, which is the normal spot on a touchback in arena football. And again, a bad snap, and this one is going to be a safety. My goodness. Just a really, really uneven offensive performance here by the Tornadoes in the first quarter and a half, and the deficit grows to 19-0. Ouch.
And we talked about it earlier, the business decision that Carnes made on the far sideline that was the intentional grounding. That time, that ball was snapped past him, went to the wall, and he picked it up and really just threw it over the wall, just got rid of it. And, you got to minimize it. Either way, you're going to get this. You're in that position to get a safety. There was no way for him to recover. So
Charlotte has played well, but Tampa Bay's been its own worst enemy by far here tonight.
They have not executed offensively as crisply as they would want to, and that has been a big reason why the Thunder, they've just been opportunistic. The Thunder haven't been, they haven't shocked the world. They haven't really played above their heads. They've just kind of played the game and taken what the game's given to them. And in this, so far tonight with 7:04 left in the half, it's been miscues for Tampa that Charlotte has capitalized on. I believe that this is a better Tornadoes team than they're putting out there right now.
Yeah,
but
think
to Charlotte's credit, they're taking what's been given to them.
I think everyone a little bit stunned here, mostly the Tornadoes players and coaching staff themselves. They never anticipated all the miscues and misfortunes that they have inflicted upon themselves. As we said, Charlotte's played well, but most of the problems have been a direct result of Tornado miscues. And here's the kickoff after the safety and the return by Perry Ford out across the 10 to about the 13. So, boy, if Tampa Bay needed a big defensive play before, they really need one now. Maybe a pick six to really change some momentum and settle some things down.
It's making me think that while Charlotte has met the moment, it feels a little bit like the Tornadoes got too far out over their skis going into this one, and they just haven't recovered yet. Their best football hasn't left the locker room.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, maybe a little too hyped, a little too emotional. Sometimes that can happen. McClendon going to loft one deep downfield, looking for Ford, incomplete. Good coverage that time by Ronnie Scott, who was stride for stride with Perry Floyd, the intended receiver.
And that's the first time that McClendon has really displayed pocket with time and let the throw go down most of the length of the field. And again, beautiful touch on that ball, just a little bit too high for a guy like Floyd, who doesn't, he doesn't go very tall. He's not a big target.
He's not McClendon size.
Right, exactly.
He's
not a very big target, but he is effective.
So he will come to the slot here on the right. Mackey is wide left, rather, and slot left is Floyd. And now we have procedure call against Charlotte. I think their motion man was too far downfield when the snap came, so that'll cost the Thunder 5. Got to have a stop here if you're Tampa Bay. That's at worst. At best, a turnover, and it's the utmost a turnover with points. But you've got to make a stop here, I think.
And and the Tornadoes get a little bit of a boost thanks to the false start. And I had a conversation with one of the officials last week, and they said we'll give them a yard, maybe a yard and a half.
Yeah, there's a buffer.
2 steps.
Yeah,
but that was 5 steps. That was 5 full yards.
Yeah, it was. Motion again this side to the right. McClendon steps up from a collapsing pocket and just overthrows Mackey out at about the 24-yard line.
Just a bit too high for Mackey in that spot. And would have been a first down if Mackey was able to come down with it, but that was a tough throw for Mackey to bring in.
One of the Tornado defenders a little bit shaken up. I think that's Arthur Hobbs, but he's going to stay in the ball game. So a third down here and 15. See if McClendon has done a nice job buying himself time. That time the pocket was really collapsing. Just a couple of nice little quick steps towards the line of scrimmage to buy himself an extra second or two. Motion is all three receivers are now to the left. Here's a fire underneath, and that is incomplete. And that was well-timed defensively by Ronnie Hardison, the defensive back who made the break up there. Got there right precisely as the ball got there. I think some of the Thunder players on the bench thought maybe Hardison got there a half second too early.
Yeah.
But
it was one of those.
The Tornadoes will take whatever breaks they can get here.
It was a bang play. Hardison made a great break on the football, so you give him credit for a good play.
So,
but it looked close.
Yeah,
I will say that
it was close. Thank you again for being so kind. All right, we've got a whistle now on the floor, and is someone? Yeah, Charlotte has called a timeout here, so they have a 4th and 15. We know Amaya certainly has the leg. Now, one of the things that can come into play here, especially on such long kicks in this building, is the ceiling. We've seen that come into play, and especially kicking from right to left, because I know our fans can't really see it on the broadcast, but at about the 15-yard line, there is a beam that runs across the length of the field here that has curtains that hang down, in some cases, maybe 10 or 12 feet. And that's the direction that Amaya would be kicking, and that is, we've seen those come into play on kickoffs and long kicks. So I don't know during the pregame if he kicked in both directions, and Charlotte may realize that could be an issue, but as tall as the ceiling is here, it has come into play in each of the first two games that the Tornadoes have played at the RP Funding Center. So Amaya looks like he's going to tee it up. It'll be literally from his own 1-yard line, so it's all practically speaking the length of a kickoff here.
And by the time the ball gets to those curtains, it should be on its
downward
descent.
You would think. It's on its way, and that's nowhere close. Might have been partially deflected at the line, I'm not sure, but that ball never had anywhere near the distance or the accuracy to be a threat, and so the Tornadoes do make a defensive stand. That's one half of the equation for the Tornadoes. The second half now is putting a touchdown on the board here in the final 3 minutes of the first half to perhaps at least go to the locker room feeling a bit better about their offensive performance, which has been shaky here so far.
It hasn't. It hasn't been shaky. It's just not been crisp. There have been flashes where you can see that the Tornadoes can be very dangerous with the football.
Yeah, no doubt.
But you haven't seen it all because they just haven't had clean exchanges, or they've missed an assignment here, missed an assignment there. It's these little things, and they all add up as the game goes along.
Well, John L. Barnes has had a very quiet first half. He is flanked out wide to the right. He of the 4-touchdown game 2 weeks ago. And I'm not sure he has a catch here tonight. I don't remember calling his name here in the first half. So let's see if Barnes can become a factor on this drive. Of course, Charlotte, I'm sure, looked at the tape and knew that Barnes was a favorite target. And down again goes Carnes. And credit Jimmy Thomas, among others, to make that sack. So a loss on the play of about 3, maybe 4. Back at about the 7-yard line, so we'll call it 2nd and 13.
Total coverage sack there.
Yeah.
You had 3 receivers going out, and the coverage on the back end by the Thunder was just exquisite. There was no place for Carnes to go, and when you have that, you've got to make that decision. Either you tuck and run, or you throw it at somebody's feet and move on.
Barnes and Dupree to the right, motion man is to the left, and I don't know what that was. It's going to be an incomplete pass or a touchdown. They're going to call it a touchdown. Holy cow.
That's an empty hand throw. The ball came out of his hand, or Carnes' hand, as he came through, and it was just it's the empty hand play, and it was scoop and score or scoop and roll.
Devante Adams is the one who said thank you very much and turned. I mean, that's about as weird as it gets, and kind of sums up the whole Tornadoes evening, I think. Carnes just never had a handle on the football.
Just dropped it.
Tried to throw it, and oh my goodness. So it's the Thunder with a 25-point lead here in the first half. And everyone here at the RP Funding Center in a little state of shock, as it's just been blunder after blunder offensively here for the Tornadoes. And it's a direct snap, a 2-point try. Ham will not even come close. Good job by the Tornadoes special teamers there to sniff that one out. Terry Johnson, among others, making contact on Ham before he ever had a chance to really get into a full roll. So the score will remain Charlotte 25 and the Tornadoes nothing. Chance here for the Tornadoes with 1:20 to play to see if they can perhaps get a touchdown on the board, but Charlotte will get the ball to start the second half, so there's more bad news if you're a Tornado fan.
I don't think I'm going to be invited back. I'm just kind of reading your body language here, Brian. I don't think I'm getting an invite back to Central Florida.
Somehow, Mike,
soon.
I don't think it's your fault. I'm not sure whose it is. Honestly, I know this team felt like they were as ready as they could be, and we've talked about it. They knew right along that this was kind of the benchmark game early on in the season, and they are not going to enjoy watching the film on this one, at least so far. But still a lot of football to play, and we've seen them make some defensive stands, and maybe if they could force a turnover or two, you never know. Hicks going to not get the chance to return it as it bounces up over the end boards and out of play. So the Tornadoes will get a start, good drive start at their 20-yard line, and the clock did not move. So they've got plenty of time, and I think at least 2 of their timeouts remaining to see if they can finally get some points on the board as your boy Carlo Thomas doing a little dance down there for the Thunder.
There was a lot of dancing going on last week in that 84-12 win over South Carolina. And honestly, that the coaches like the players to express themselves, but in the middle of the game there was some kind of let's not do that. Let's not do that so much.
They spotted it at the 5. And I thought that would have a touchback that would have gone out to the 20. Don't know.
Well, I think it might be at the 5 because of the fact that it bounced over.
Yeah, maybe that's right. Yeah, you
might
be right. It did bounce. Yeah, through the end zone, and so it did not actually go out on the kick. So yeah, that's a big break for Charlotte. That's a 15-yard difference, and so instead of starting at the 20, the Tornadoes will be pressed all the way back to their 5-yard line. Well, I don't know. Maybe Charlotte has done something special to take John L. Barnes out of the offense. I mean, I haven't seen anything real specific, but I know Carnes has not looked his way that much tonight, where that's pretty much all he did 2 weeks ago in that win over Georgia. So give credit to the Thunder defense for really, and their defensive secondary has been impressive tonight.
Secondary's played well. They've gotten good pressure with the front line. The linebacker, the defense has played a solid game. But again, Tampa's not executed. The Tornadoes have not executed crisply, and I think we'd have a different game if the Tornadoes were just a little sharper.
Charlotte's been good. Tampa Bay is not, and that's why it's 25-0. No other way to sugarcoat it. Again, ball on the turf. Carnes fortunately had it bounce right back to him, but he is dragged down right at the line of scrimmage. No gain. I mean, my goodness, the Tornadoes just can't hang on to the football. I mean, it's been on the carpet 6 or 7 times here in this first half. I mean, just that there isn't anything more basic in football than hanging on to it, and Tampa Bay hasn't been able to even do that. Now, there's a good pass from center, throw, and that is well short of the mark. Andre Davis, the intended receiver.
It seems like there might be something with his release tonight.
I don't know.
It's like he's almost throwing an over-the-top fastball because the ball's coming out of his hand at an awkward angle, and it's obviously uncatchable because it's coming in so short of the receiver.
I mean, that's the second or third one we've seen that's been 5, 6, 7 yards short of the intended target.
A couple of times they were tipped.
Yeah,
that one wasn't.
A couple of times they haven't been, and that one was not at all, and it was just not a good throw. So it'll be 3rd and 10, 41 seconds to go. Good snap from center again. And there's the completion. There's Barnes finally. Has it. Misses a couple of tacklers. Still on his feet. Great play. Nice run by Johnny Barnes. And Jonell Barnes and the fans here in Central Florida finally have something to cheer about.
Well,
Best play of the game for the Tornadoes.
Barnes does a great job there of making guys miss. But on the flip side of that, the Thunder are trying to strip the football as opposed to wrap and tackle. So give credit to Barnes for just running, just doing his job.
Meanwhile, clock still running. Inside 20 seconds. Karn's going to step up, still looking, fires to the end zone. Davis can't hang on. Andre Davis underneath the goalpost. That was one of Karn's best throw of the game, and Davis couldn't hang on. Flag down in the defensive secondary. Stops the clock with 10 seconds. Here's a look as Karns was able to buy himself some time.
Stepping up in the pocket, beautiful read by him, and then the throw, that's a catchable ball. You know, that's a catchable ball that you got to bring that one down.
Might have not counted anyway because it was on the cement. I don't know if he'd have gotten the foot down or not. So it will be against Charlotte, the flag, and not that it will probably matter, but it'll be first down and 5 now from the 14. 10.5 seconds to go, so probably time enough for a couple of plays, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So the Tornadoes don't have a lot of time to work with here. They'll send 2 wide receivers left. Davis will come to the right. Snap from center is good. Karn's going to fire to the end zone through the hands.
Oh.
Ricardo Brown, the intended receiver, and that's one you've got to catch, I would say. Ricardo going to be unhappy as he slaps his hand. Not an easy catch, but when you're in need of a touchdown, Brown would like to have that one back.
Little high, and his body wasn't in the right position to kind of adjust to the football.
Yeah.
So, but it, you know, the old heads all say, if it hits your hands, you got to catch it.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, I don't know. I'm willing to give him a little bit of a break on that one because, again, the twist was so much for him to try to readjust to the ball.
They will put some time back on the clock here. Somehow the clock had run down to like 0.6 of a second, and so I think they're going to set it back at 5 seconds. So this will be probably the last play of the half, one way or the other. They're going to give them 6 seconds, so maybe they would get one more play if they hit something quick here. And we get a hometown finger on the clock. We'll see. That never happens, does it, Mike?
I've never seen it before. No.
Snap from center is good. Karn's going to roll. Karn's going to fire back the other way, and that is too tall. And there will be time left for one more play. That one was not catchable. But the Tornadoes with 1.2 seconds still on the clock. He was looking for Jonell Barnes again, but Barnes would have needed, I'm not sure if he had Wilt Chamberlain height, he would have been able to catch that. Maybe if he had Manute Bol height, but not. That was too tall for Barnes to be sure. So this will be the last play of the half, and it looks like Tampa Bay is going to just try and get some points on the board here. A little bit surprised. Smaglia in. Just, I guess, wanting to at least have some points unless it's a fake. But you don't usually see that in the arena game. And if you're going to do that, you might as well just run the best offensive play you've got in the book.
We'll see if Donnell Bond, 61 in the middle there, can generate that push up the middle. If the Thunder can maybe get a hand up and block this. Because they're going to talk about it if they go into the locker room with a 0 on the board.
Ronnie Scott is the holder. Snap from center is a good one, and the kick is on the way, and that is through and true at the buzzer. So finally, the Tornadoes get on the board. It's only a field goal, but it is points, and we will go to intermission with the Charlotte Thunder leading the Tampa Bay Tornadoes by a score of 25-3. But that is only the half of it. The more to come sign is up, and the Tornadoes will head to intermission to try and regroup and see if somehow they can find some answers, Mike, to what was, quite frankly, a pretty disastrous first 30 minutes.
Yeah, but don't think for a second that Tampa Bay is going to lay down and call this a night. They're going to go in, they're going to make some adjustments. And again, they just have to be crisp. If they're able to execute cleanly, they can find their way back into this game.
Well, we'll see if there's any answers. Gabrielle Shirley down on the sidelines will talk to us and see what the thinking is for the second half for the Tornadoes. Take it away, Gabby.
Has outscored opponents 151-24 in the first two games. You held the Tornadoes to 3 points in this half. What do you like best? What are you seeing that you like from your team in the first half?
Just being consistent. That's we had a game plan. Come in here and do what we usually do, and that's play good defensive football. So we thrive on good defense. We allow our offense to kind of get in the groove, and that's what we've done.
It's pretty impressive to hold a team to 3 points in a half. What are you going to do to keep that score low for them in this second half?
Nothing changes for us. We keep everything dialed up, and we play the same way we played the first half. First half's over, it's 0-0.
Do you think your team is going to keep that high energy? Because I see them dancing out there, yelling and screaming there into this game.
We have no choice, no choice. I just want to give a shout out to my coaches, Coach Bryson. We got Coach Sherrod home. We also got Coach Evans home. We didn't have them here due to illness, so just thankful for our coaching camaraderie, and hey, we're gonna bring it home for you.
Awesome, thank you, Coach, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we have our halftime show coming up just after this break, so stay with us.
Leo Haggerty on the sideline with former NFL great Michael Clayton, Buccaneers, and still got that Super Bowl ring with the Giants, right?
Absolutely. You know, great experiences from football have blessed me and my family to be able to just live life and enjoy life. And, man, it's always good to see football in the flesh, man, and seeing these guys live out their dreams, and also to see the fans getting a chance to get excited about a sport during this time of COVID, man. So it's great to be in the building today.
You know what? With the COVID, it's hard for people right now to come out, but we got a pretty good house tonight, don't we?
Absolutely, man. I think that the world has been deprived of sports long enough, and sports is just a way to bring the community together. So when things get back to normal, I know that fans will be excited about having football, but for those in attendance here in Lakeland at the RP Funding Center, they're definitely enjoying some football, man, and it's great to see fans finally in the stands.
Absolutely. Michael, it was a fun ride following the Buccaneers this year, wasn't it?
It was. You know, I had a great honor of being the co-host to their radio show, following the Bucs all year for the past 3 years, actually, and to just be on staff, you know, announcing the great Tom Brady and then seeing everything that he did for the Bucs this year, seeing that team come together, watching them winning the Lombardi Trophy was a dream come true, watching it from afar, and it was great to once be a part of the team. It felt like you still were a part of the team as a former player watching the Bucs this year.
Absolutely. We're going to hear you back on the radio again this year?
Absolutely, man. We're fired up. And definitely, after winning the Lombardi Trophy, you carry a sense of pride being the spokesperson for your hometown team. So it's a great privilege and an honor to be on radio on 620 WDAE. And, man, I look forward to another great season.
And you got to add some sanity with Krasnicki in that booth, right?
I have a blast with Tom Krasnicki, man. He's a true brother of mine. He made me feel comfortable getting into the booth, announcing games and calling pre- and post-game radio shows. So we have fun on radio. we look forward to entertaining our listeners, man, and I think we do a great job. We have a great relationship and friendship, and so it makes for great on-air personalities when we get a chance to sit down together.
Michael Clayton, thank you for your time,
Absolutely.
sir. Hope we see you at another game. This is Leo Haggerty on the field with former Buccaneer Michael Clayton. Let's throw it back up to the booth.
Go Tornadoes.
We're going to Gabby up.
All right, thank you, Leo. Here we are at the halftime show. The Tampa Bay Tornadoes.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And they haven't showed us much in this first half. We knew that this team was going to come in hot. They've outscored their opponents, like I said in that interview earlier, 151-24 in the first 4 games, and they are not slowing down. Now, really, the players, they're not interested in talking about this game because the score is reflecting what's going on out there. But I was able to grab wide receiver Ricardo Brown Jr., and I said, hey, what can you pinpoint the issue right now? What's happening out here? And he said there's miscommunication and that the problems really all start in practice. So he kind of alluded to this team not really connecting. They've had 3 weeks to pull it together. They had scattered practices in the first 2 weeks, a full week of practice this week, and he just said, hey, that's where we get good. That's where it all starts. And he alluded to just them not really connecting there, which is reflecting in their performance in this game today. So the Tampa Bay Tornadoes, again, only 3 points. They just got that field goal at the end of the second quarter. They're not liking what they see, but I expect them to come out fiery. I asked Ricardo before he jumped back onto the field, I said, all right, so how do we fix it? What can we do? And he said, just you wait, I'm going to show you. So their confidence, it's not really wavering. I expect them to come out strong in the second half, and it should be a good one. So I'm going to send it to our guys in the booth. Take it away.
All right, Gabby, thank you so much. Well, the good news is if you're a Tornadoes fan that you held the high-flying Charlotte offense to only, air quotes, 25 points. The bad news is you only got 3 yourself, and most of the problems were their own. They just really couldn't even do the basic thing of hanging on to the football very much. Any chance that, I mean, I guess there is, that the Tornadoes can come back. They made some good defensive plays, but my goodness, down 25-3, I think we're all a little bit surprised by that.
I would think that if you're in that Tornadoes dressing room right now, you're just saying, guys, settle down, let's just play our game. Because there were the missed exchanges on handoffs, bobbled snaps, bad snaps, a snap that led to a safety. The defense even got into scoring, in that first half as well. So, I just think that the Tornadoes just need to settle down. And if they settle down, and they started to find a little bit of rhythm there in the late stage of that second quarter, if they can carry that momentum into the third quarter, into that second half, I think they've got an opportunity to get back in the game. But at the same time, if the mistakes continue, the Thunder are just going to pounce. I mean, that's what they've done. Every mistake that the Tornadoes have made, Charlotte has just been there, and they've answered the bell. I mean, they've done their jobs. They've come down to Tampa to do their job, and they've done the job. What's been given to them, they've taken on, and they've taken advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Workmanlike performance by Charlotte. They haven't done anything really fancy that you would call fancy in terms of the arena game, offensively or defensively, but they have moved to the football and taken advantage of the opportunities that have been presented them, which have been many. And you're right. I mean, there's talent on this Tampa Bay roster, a lot of it. We've talked about it. Breon Carnes, a guy who played well for the Iowa Barnstormers for 3 seasons. Very high level of arena football. Just has not looked comfortable. And I don't even think it's necessarily been the Thunder's pass rush, which has been okay. It's been okay to good, but he's been able to buy himself time. I think it's really the Charlotte secondary maybe that deserves as much of the credit as anybody, because he's just not finding his targets downfield, and when he does, he's made a couple of throws that have been a little head-scratching as well.
Yeah, and we talk about the play of the secondary for the Thunder. They have been they've been better than good. They've been outstanding, but again, without crediting that front that rush that the Thunder are getting from the front three, and even the linebackers when they're running those delayed rushes off the around the left side, around the right side. I mean, the Thunder are really playing a complete game defensively. And it hasn't been fancy. Like you say, it hasn't been flashy. It's just been solid, and it's just been effective, and it's 25-3 at the break because of it.
So let's talk about what the formula would be for Tampa Bay to get a comeback here, because Charlotte will get the opening kick, and down 25-3. That's the other good news for the Tornadoes. They did get a late field goal there to end the first half, so it is a 22, not 25-point deficit. But I think turnovers would be a key. I don't know if a comeback is in the cards for the Tornadoes without one or two turnovers in this half. If there's going to be a comeback, I think it's going to have to start defensively, and it's probably going to have to start on that first possession, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would think that if the Tornadoes want to find some momentum and build off of how they finished the first half, it's now in the hands of the defense to step up. The defense has to force a turnover, whether it's an interception, strip sack, anything positive right now from the defense will feed that fire. We'll get that energy going again, and I think that's what the Tornadoes are just lacking right now. They weren't clean in the first half offensively. Defensively, they weren't horrible. I mean, but they were. Their first defensive play, they had to defend it from their own 3-yard line.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So I mean, that's a tall order. So I think if they just have to settle down, and they'll find themselves back in the game.
And maybe offensively, you talk about a formula, maybe going to a little bit more of a shorter pass, maybe some underneath stuff. They've thrown a lot into the end zone and tried to go maybe not in that 25 or 30-yard range downfield, but, in that like maybe 15-yard range downfield, and they just haven't been successful. And maybe going to a little bit of a shorter passing game, some things underneath, some crossing routes underneath. Their best play was that completion to Barnes,
yeah.
and a lot of that came on the Barnes run after that catch,
yeah.
and perhaps maybe just getting it into the hands of a playmaker like Barnes or some of the other receivers on shorter stuff and let them create might be part of the formula as well. We'll see. Obviously, a lot of frustration on the Tampa Bay sideline right now, but still time, 30 minutes of football to play, and you get a turnover or two and you get a completion or two, and as arena football fans know, and as you know, Mike, points can happen pretty quickly in this game. Not trying to sell the fact that Tampa Bay is imminently going to make a spectacular comeback, but don't go away quite yet, because 25-3 is not insurmountable in this game.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it's a 22-point deficit right now for the Tornadoes, a 22-point lead for the Thunder. Thunder won't change a thing. I mean,
nor should they.
Yeah,
right.
Jermaine Smith doesn't want to change a thing. The defense continues to do their job. The offense can be better, but again, we haven't really seen the offense have to do anything spectacular because the defense has done such a great job for them tonight. And I know that Irvin Bryce is going to give me grief when I get back to Charlotte about saying that, because he's an offensive guy and Jermaine Smith a defensive guy. But when you look at what this Thunder team has done to this point, you don't change a thing. You just try to execute your offense a little better. Don't touch the defense. Just throw them a Scooby snack here in the halftime. just sit there. Don't change a thing. Do your jobs, and come back and do more of that in the second. Offense can be a little crisper, but again, the Tornadoes are not that far out of this, even though it's a 22-point game.
Yeah, and you do wonder the 3-week layoff. We talked about that all the way at the top of the broadcast. How would the Tornadoes react? Would it be a problem? They started kind of slow after a couple of early touchdowns against Georgina in that game 3 weeks ago, but then they gave up the lead to the Lions, even though Tampa Bay we knew was a more talented team. And tonight, they just the mistakes that they made 3 weeks ago that they've kind of duplicated here tonight. Charlotte just too good to make those mistakes again. And you talk about that formula for the second half. No mistakes, no turnovers, no bobbled snaps from center. Pretty much a must for the Tornadoes as they look to get some points on the board and get themselves back into this game. Two teams coming in still early in the AAL season, as we talked about, but both teams at 2-0, and they both really looked at this as a benchmark game. Yeah. And the Thunder, the confidence level, I always say in sports, the psychological side, the mental side is often underappreciated. That might be the biggest hill that the Tornadoes have to climb in the second half, is just believing that they can get back in this game and have something good happen, get a turnover, a pick six, get some confidence, and get some momentum turned their way. I don't know if they actually believe they can come back in this. I mean, I think they can, and they probably in their hearts know they can, but the reality is they've got to know how difficult it's going to be.
Well, they know it's difficult. And I made the point in the first half saying that, I thought maybe the Tornadoes came into this ball game a little too hyped, a little too far out over their skis, and they built themselves up, and when the game started, they weren't quite prepared for the speed, because again, I don't think that either of these teams, Charlotte or Tampa, had faced quality competition to this point, and because of that, they were both amped up for this one, but I think that Tampa maybe was a little bit too overly hyped, and because of that, Charlotte was just calm, cool. They reacted, react, play, and it showed in that first half that they played relatively mistake-free football for the first half.
Well, and that may be the lesson that comes out of this game tonight for Tampa Bay is just where their shortcomings really lie, because you're right, they have not faced the level of competition that Charlotte has providing tonight, and I really wasn't kidding at the onset here. Holding Charlotte to 25 points isn't really a bad defensive effort.
No,
this is a team that scored 80 already this season, so the fact that they've held Charlotte to 25, we figured 50 would be the minimum to probably win here tonight, so to hold them to 25 was really not a bad defensive effort. They made some stands. It's just really offensively they have not been able to find their stride, and so we'll see how it goes from here. The two teams are heading back out onto the field here for second half action, and as we said, Charlotte will get the opening kick, which really is a possession and a moment that could set the tone for much of the second half and how this game might swing, whether or not the Tornadoes will have a chance to mount a great comeback or not. Gabrielle Shirley is on the sidelines, and she is always doing a great job as our sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Tornadoes again here tonight. A great presence in the Tampa market with WFLA TV, and we appreciate her efforts. And let's head down to the field now and check in with Gabby and her special guest.
Make us, feel worried. We just on our opposite side of the ball, we gave them touchdowns. We put our defense in a bad position to where they didn't have that far to go. So right now, it's just about us right now, just sucking it up. Yeah. Told everybody now you got a real gut check. Now it's about coming out playing.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm sending it back to you in the booth.
All right, thanks, Gabby, and apologize there for a little bit of a technical difficulty on Steve Thomas's interview. And when you're down 25-3, maybe it's best we didn't hear everything that Coach Thomas had to say, because I'm sure he had plenty to say in the locker room to his side, but a lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with character and pride and wanting to make sure that despite the lopsided score at the moment, that his club still puts forward the kind of effort that Tornadoes fans expect. So we'll see. There's still 30 minutes to go and still a chance for the Tornadoes to make some noise as the Tornado siren blares, and we'll see if that's a harbinger of better things to come for Tampa Bay. Charlotte will get the opening kickoff. John Gibson, the defensive back for the Thunder, is back to receive the kick from Zach Samaglia. And the Tornadoes will need a defensive stop here right to start the second half, and if you get that, who knows? Maybe the momentum switches. And as we said, in this arena game, the beauty of the sport is momentum can switch very quickly, and points can come very, very quickly, and that's what the Tornadoes will need. Ball is in the air, and Samaglia will drive it over the end line and the end boards, so it'll be a touchback, and Charlotte will start at their own 20-yard line.
On this first possession for the Thunder, I would expect that you're going to want to see David Ham to get a couple of touches, establish the run in the second half, because as you heard Coach Smith say going into the dressing room, it's 0-0. We're starting over. First half's over with. We're going to add them up at the end. So I would imagine they want to get their game plan going, and they've got to change your quarterback, stuff Cologne in, as opposed to Jalen McClendon to start the third quarter.
So Stefan Cologne is now at quarterback for Charlotte, and there's the give off to Ham, and he is going to be dragged down from behind. Good defensive play there by number 55, Kawanzi Jackson. So, Mike, you know this Thunder team well. What's the thinking in putting Cologne in here in replace of McClendon, do you believe?
It's one of two things. It's either McClendon got a little dinged up on one of those sacks, or it's to give Cologne some reps because, again, McClendon won the starter's job over the first two games, but Cologne is not that far behind. And so this is a really good quarterback tandem to have in this league.
Motion by Lancaster. That throw is incomplete on the far sideline. Deflected off the receiver's hands there.
Got to have that one.
That was Mackey, the intended target. Well, it just seems to me kind of a curious decision just because I don't think you'd want to give Tampa Bay any incentive to get a spark. I mean, McClendon played so well and moved the ball so well that I would think you'd want to come out and really just kind of bury your opponent if you could.
Coach Smith did anticipate giving Cologne some snaps tonight.
Cologne back to throw. He's going to go deep. He's got a man, and it's caught down at the 5-yard line. Perry Floyd hauled it in. Pretty rainbow by Cologne there.
And here they go with that quick hurry up. A big chunk play down inside the 5. The Thunder want to get it snapped quickly here.
And let's see if they give it to Ham. They bunch 3 receivers all the way to the far wall. They'll give it to Ham, and he is down at the half-yard line.
He is on the field. Yeah. We know that for sure. He's on the field.
So they're going to go no huddle and quick snap it again here, and my money is on another handoff to Ham. We'll see. It's a direct snap to Ham, and he's going to be stopped. Nice defensive play that time by Jordan Guest. So it'll bring up 3rd and a yard. He actually lost maybe a half yard there.
Ham doing a little coaching with his lineman there, saying, "Guys, you got to give me a crease. You got to give me something." Thunder want to punch this one in and complete this drive, not only to add to the score, but to give that offensive unit a little bit of boost because they bring in Cologne, going to get a chance to drive them down on their first possession. They can punch in 6. Everybody on that side feels good.
Ham will line up to Cologne's right. Receivers are split, 2 right, 1 left. It's a give off to Ham again. There's a big scrum at the goal line, and they will say Ham is in. So on the 3rd try, David Ham finally cracks the plane, and the Thunder have indeed taken the opening kick and put 6 on the board.
And Steph Cologne hands it off and then ends up pushing Ham over the line, just driving the pile forward. And the first guy off the bench, Carlo Thomas, is the holder here. But these guys have a real strong connection to family, and Cologne is a big part as a player and a leader for this team. So solid opening drive of the third quarter for Charlotte.
And that throw to Floyd is what set that up. Extra point try is up and good. And that was a nice ball by Cologne to give them their 1st and goal. We'll take a look at Ham's 3rd try from about the 1-yard line here. And it wasn't easy. He still had to work. As, you're right, McClendon in there pushing and a couple other guys, and he didn't make it over by much, but all you got to do is McClendon proved in the first half, just break that plane and it'll count. So let's get an update from the sidelines. Gabrielle Shirley with some information for us. Go ahead, Gabby.
Hi, Brian. Yes, I just talked to some of the players here on the bench. They came out. They look focused. They look serious. They look like they're ready to, dare I say it, make a comeback. I spoke to the Tornadoes quarterback, Breon Carnes, and I said, hey, what are you thinking ahead of this first offensive series? And he said, we have to tighten up. We have to eliminate the mistakes. He's very serious. very zoned in. Didn't give me much more than that, but I mean, that pretty much says it all. Eliminate the mistakes, and perhaps they can get on the board more than 3 points here. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, definitely pretty much says it all. Eliminate the mistakes, and that's about 90% of the battle here tonight for the Tornado. There's another one on the way that's going to fall just short of being the Uno, I believe.
It's good.
Oh, did it go over? Okay. You know, my new glasses have not come in yet. True story. I do have them ordered. I was at the optometrist last week.
Well,
they cut the lens wrong, so they had to send them back.
The thing working in your favor is that there was no official signal until the referee went and did the one finger point.
I thought that went under the crossbar. So
it was close. I was leaning out from our broadcast spot just to see, and it was just enough. So that's the second
Uno.
one tonight for Amaya.
Second Uno of the night. So it's 33-3, a 30-point Charlotte lead. Carnes under center now. Throw from his own end zone. Does go a little bit shorter, has the completion. And a little extra curricular over there from John L. Barnes as he was thrown somewhat forcefully over the sidewall. And flags have flown. We'll see if this might be an offsetting or perhaps a unnecessary roughness against Charlotte. He definitely took Barnes over the boards a little more forcefully than they probably needed to, so we'll see what the call is. A little frustration, I'm sure, on Barnes' part as well.
That's the right call there. It really is, and that's something that John Gibson's got to look. I know it's a physical game. I know you want to impose your will, but when you get the guy into the wall and he's out of bounds, that's it. You can't give them the free chunks of yardage, and that's something these coaches will talk about.
So the flag moves the ball right out to the midfield line, the 25-yard line, and let's see if Tampa Bay can take advantage. Carnes with a shotgun, has it again underneath. That's what we talked about at intermission. Complete this time to Chris Murray, and he spins his way down inside the 10. And exactly what we talked about, Mike, looking underneath, going short, getting into the hands of your playmakers, and letting them pick up some yards.
See, and now, though, off of the personal foul penalty, that's extra chunk yardage. Positive vibes, positive feelings for that offense. Now they start to roll. They make the nice completion down to the 9-yard line there. Now they're in the red zone. Now they're in striking distance.
This is at least the third time they've had first and goal this game. Still looking, though, for their first touchdown. Carnes gets it from center, throws, and it's incomplete. Look for the tight end that time. That was Janko Bears, and he's hurt. A little shaken up on the play.
And he's grabbing at his left knee.
Yeah,
he
that's
landed
never
a
good.
little awkwardly there, Brian.
This is not a forgiving turf here at the lake in the RP Funding Center. Just a thin layer of AstroTurf, and it's concrete underneath. Yeah. So we'll take a look at that effort. Great effort by Barris there to try and haul it in. That is the second time, at least tonight, in that left corner of that end zone where looked like that the Tornadoes would perhaps come up with a touchdown catch and just had it go through their hands. Kind of the same thing like the first one, a little high, a little twisted around to try and get it. And unfortunately, not only did the catch not get made, but Barris is a little bit shaken up on the play.
Yeah, he immediately landed on the turf and was grabbing at his left knee. They're rolling him over on his back now and having a look, but you don't like to see that. And you talk about the twist. And when Barris is a big body, he's
6'4", 275.
Yeah, he's a big target out there. But when you get that kind of momentum going and it's going in an awkward direction, boy, you just don't want to see that. You see something like that happen. So obviously they're taking a look at him now, and hopefully it's minimal. But the thing the Tornadoes have done so far to this point in their first possession of the half, really, really nice stuff. Make a solid completion on the boards. Thunder take an unnecessary penalty, give more yardage there. Another nice throw underneath to the 9. So the Tornadoes really in business here as they try to continue this drive and get their first touchdown of the night.
Barris going to be helped off the field here and not really putting any weight at all on that left leg, which is a little bit scary. And we'll send our best wishes to Janko for his hopefully quick recovery. Played his college ball at Missouri Valley College and would have been a nice catch, and so that is truly insult to injury. It'll bring up a second down now for
Thunder players. You saw as they was taking Barris off there, coming over and wishing him well, and at the end of the day,
a lot of camaraderie in this game.
These guys are enemies while the clock's running, but when it's stopped, they're all brothers in arms, and they all there's a tremendous brotherhood amongst the players.
Yeah,
and
great
you never
point.
want to see one of your own go down.
Yeah, great point. Nobody's getting rich doing this. Nobody's getting famous doing it. They play pretty much for the love of the game, the thrill of the competition, the entertainment value for the fans, as we do have a nice socially distanced crowd here tonight at the RP Funding Center. But it's been a disappointing performance so far, but we'll see if the Tornadoes can turn that around. Here's the pitch to Hicks, and he's going nowhere, at least running right. He's going to come back looking left, and he's still on his feet, and he's going to lose all the way back out to the 20-yard line and then some. My goodness, that play just never had a chance to succeed, and it just went from bad to worse.
Well, Bentley Easley looked like he was 77 or 72? 77. Justo Polanco really had a handful of jersey that forced the running back into the flow, and then it all just kind of went sideways. And it's a loss of 11 here, back to the 20.
So it'll bring up a 3rd and goal now from the 20. And a little bit of a curious play call there. Not that Hicks doesn't have talent, but they just have not been able to move the ball at all on the ground tonight. Maybe trying to catch Charlotte a little by surprise there. Carnes going to direct some traffic. Going to look underneath, has a incompletion. Ricardo Brown flips over the sidewall, make sure he's all right, as that pass went through his hands, and he's not okay, unfortunately. So Brown is shaken up as he flipped over the sidewall here at about the 10-yard line. That's always scary. It's about the fourth or fifth pass that's gone right through a Tornado receiver's hands here this evening, and
well, Brown went over.
It's kind of in slow motion, kind of. It wasn't a quick flip, but yeah, he's holding his back. We'll take a look at the replay, but yeah, you're falling on concrete there. We talked about the fact that the turf itself isn't very forgiving. Well, there's nothing to pad your fall once you go over the sidewall, and he might have caught his back on the chair.
Yeah.
There is what it looked like.
Yeah,
Didn't actually hit the floor. It looks like he hit a chair with his back before he went to the floor.
As he was going over, it was almost slow motion as he hit the chair, but at the same time he was inverted. So you got to be careful with his neck and spine there as well, because he was in a very dangerous position going over the boards, and so you just hope that he's okay. And this is nothing serious. Best thing would be he hurt his back a little bit and a little bruise, a little swelling or something like that. Anything more than that is you just don't want that.
And obviously, anytime you're talking back, neck kind of injury, you're going to take every precaution that you can. And so we may be in for a bit of a delay here as they tend to Ricardo Brown here on the near sideline. And we'll certainly can see Janelle Barnes just on the field of play with his head down, I'm sure saying a prayer for his teammate here to hope everything is going to be okay. Just a weird, unusual play and what has been a weird and unusual night for the Tornadoes. Just not gone their way in any way, shape, or form, and it's one thing to lose a football game, but to risk a really serious injury, to do it makes it even worse. So Brown being tended to.
Yeah, Ricardo Brown, number 3, is the player down if you're just joining us. And you see, actually, the next to the referee on the referee's right, that's Lynette Jewell with the Thunder staff. And she's a jack of all trades with this organization. and she's trying to help direct some traffic here.
And I think they may be calling for an ambulance. There is not one on site. Don't necessarily want to completely speculate on that, but I see one of the team people down there on the phone. There is no on-site ambulance, so it'll take a couple of minutes to respond with additional aid if that is in fact what they're calling for. And yeah, I don't know if by hitting the chair was a good thing or a bad thing. You know, he might have been better off just falling to the floor and not actually, because I think the chair is what hit the lower back. And those are padded chairs, but they're metal frames, and so it was really kind of an unusual looking thing. But
it is essentially right in front of us.
Yeah, no,
we're up here at the top of section 107, and we're kind of blocked out with we were blocked out with the chairs and the impact and everything. So we're really just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that
and I am seeing some movement in his feet. So I mean, there is some good news there.
I wouldn't mind seeing some more movement.
Yeah, you would like to see a little bit more, although I'm sure they're telling him not to move much.
Well,
because that's as a precautionary thing. If there is an injury there, that you can cause more damage if you move too much. But I did definitely see his foot moving a little bit there. So we'll take one more look at it here.
Yeah, Brown runs that sideline pattern, doesn't come down with it.
Yeah, his feet hit the top of the chair, and so I think it's his back that hit the front of that chair, which, as we said, is padded, but there's a metal frame there. And we will be in for what is going to be a pretty significant delay as they tend to wide receiver Ricardo Brown. He did not dress in the game here against Georgina a couple of weeks ago. Just one of the really unfortunate parts of sport. And as we said, hopefully the news is just taking
every precaution.
Yeah, every possible precaution to make sure there isn't anything further that can happen to Brown here. Certainly believe he's conscious and everything. There's no other indication that it's anything other than the back injury itself.
Yeah, this is, as you touched on, this is the part of the game that you just hate to see.
And it was a pretty innocent-looking play. I mean, you leave your feet to make the catch, and you're near the sidewall. I mean, it's, you don't expect. I've seen players flip over the wall in this game, certainly. There's been other arena teams that have played here in Lakeland through the years, and haven't seen anything serious like that. But it is obviously a factor, and there's really not. I don't think there's any kind of safeguards you can really put in place that would.
Well, I'm hoping that these are for warmth.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure.
It's a very unusual situation here, folks, and I know we've got a lot of folks tuning in on the live stream tonight, and we do thank you for the company, but we are obviously in a bit of a medical delay here with the injury to the Tornado receiver, Ricardo Brown, who left his feet attempting to catch a pass that was a little bit high, a little overthrown. He tumbled over the wall, and now he is down in a prone position being tended to, and I think we are waiting some medical attention, with medic to come in and take a look at him.
Yeah, I believe that is the case. We're going to head down to the sideline, and Gabrielle Shirley will have perhaps some more information for us. Gabby?
Yeah, I'm here with teammate Ronnie Scott. Ronnie, I saw you walk over there. Can you tell me, we're not going to speculate on an injury, but Ricardo Brown Jr., what was happening over there? What are you feeling right now? Because you never like to see a teammate get injured.
Nah, at this moment we're just trying to figure out what's wrong. I know he was down there on the ground. They said he hit himself somewhere when he hit the ground going over the wall. He's moving, so he is doing well, but they're trying to keep him stable, make sure everything's okay. But he's going to pull it through. He's a strong dude. He's a fighter.
And this is the second injury in so many plays. I mean, seeing your teammates go down like this and the game's not going your way right now, how do you continue forward?
We're professionals. We just got to keep fighting. We got another quarter of football to play, so we got to go ahead and keep playing, and then we have a chance. There's 30 points. This is arena football, games up and down. We get hot, we can figure out how to win this game. It's still a chance here.
Perfect. Ronnie, thank you so much and good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'll send it back to you in the booth.
And thank you for that, Gabby. We appreciate your work on the sidelines. Stellar as always, and special thanks in there to Ronnie Scott for sharing a couple of thoughts there on the situation as Ricardo Brown is being tended to outside the playing field at this time. And as Mike mentioned, I believe we're waiting for Lakeland Fire Rescue and an ambulance to come to further assess the situation and as we said, hopefully just take the precaution that there isn't any additional injury done by moving too quickly or too much. Not a head injury, we don't think. It looked to be a lower back, and it's been a bummer of an evening for the Tampa Bay Tornadoes all the way around, but that kind of pales in comparison when you talk about an injury situation, and all you can do, I guess, really is hope and say a prayer that Ricardo Brown is okay.
Yeah, and you know, you and I have had a little bit of fun here tonight. I normally call the games for the Thunder at back in Charlotte, and we've had some playful banter. We're going to put that aside here because Ricardo Brown and his health is obviously more important. And it has been a very difficult night for the Tornadoes when you talk about the actual football. But right now, all thoughts are with Ricardo Brown. It's just, and it looked so innocuous, just a
really,
generic, just like a nothing kind of play. But you just never know, and you just hope that what we're seeing on the field, just over the wall right in front of us, is what you hope you're seeing is you just hope you're seeing everybody just taking every precaution, and they're going to get him, they'll get him taken care of and attended to, and he'll be like, what's all the fuss? I'm fine. That's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we'll just tell you what we can see and know, but which really isn't a lot. And you just can't and don't want to speculate. I did see some movement in one of his feet. But they've also brought some blankets out to keep him warm and make sure. I'm sure there could be some shock that could be setting in. That's always with an injury a possibility, and so you do the best you can, and we expect to have Lakeland Fire Rescue, as we said here, shortly to further assess the situation with. And there are some medical people here, trainers and whatnot, but they're not true medical people in terms of assessing that kind of an injury and being able to respond with what they have available to themselves. So obviously you turn to the professionals, and that's what we are waiting for. So the players will just kind of mill about here on the field, a couple of them out there staying loose, and you do kind of worry about that when you get back to play. We're probably looking at 20, 30-minute kind of delay, and we may have to have some time where the teams will have to kind of re-warm up, if you will, and not risk some kind of an additional injury. So I think we may have another update from Gabrielle now. Gabby, do you have something for us?
Hi, guys. Yes, I see a stretcher coming in right now. They're walking on that sideline to go to Ricardo Brown Jr. And really, you never like to see this. You heard from Ronnie Scott, who said that this is just the worst. And I spoke to another player earlier in this game, Jordan Guess, actually before it started, and I asked what was so special about this team. And right off the bat, without hesitation, he said the camaraderie that they have, and that this is a brotherhood, and that everyone has each other's backs. And you have seen tornado after tornado go over there to check on Brown Jr. and just see, if he's okay. According to Scott, he said that he is talking a little bit, not a whole lot of movement, but he thinks, he's going to be all right. Obviously, we cannot speculate on exactly what happened, but that's a good sign. And then stretchers over there, and these guys, they're just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best. I'll send it back to you.
Brian, if I may, we just saw tonight's referee giving a very detailed explanation as to what he has been seeing with Brown, what happened on the play, and what has been described to him. So now Lakeland Fire and Rescue is in there to try to take over and assess the situation and make the next moves in terms of Brown's care. So, we talk about the players being in great shape. We talk about the official or the trainers and the coaches doing their jobs to get these guys going. But these officials also have to be ready for just about anything because they control the game.
Yeah.
They're watching the game and they're making sure that it's being played fairly. But in a situation like this, and I don't have tonight's referees, I don't have his name in front of me, but you just saw an example of a guy that I'm going to guess that there's probably maybe EMT fire and rescue background in his life somewhere, and I'm going to guess that maybe he's just a junior lifesaver with Cluster's lifeguard, but he knows
he took control of the situation.
He did, absolutely. That's where
exactly
I finally landed the plane. There is that he stepped in, and he's the guy that's watching over this. And now EMTs, the real EMTs, are in to kind of take over.
Yeah, both the Lakeland Fire Rescue and Polk County Fire Rescue. The Lakeland is in Polk County, so they've had a couple of different units respond here, and they're assessing the situation on Ricardo Brown, who, if you're just tuning in, flipped over the sidewall here about the 15-yard line on an incomplete pass from quarterback Breon Carnes, and we have been in a delay ever since. We believe our best guess is that Carnes hit the front part of a metal chair, a padded metal chair that there are, for lack of a better term, kind of like luxury boxes down there by the floor where the most expensive tickets are sold and fans sit, and each of those boxes have pretty heavy, padded but heavy metal chairs with steel frames around them, and it looked to be as that's what Brown hit, and they've got the backboard out here.
Backboard out there now, Brian. They're going to roll him over on that, and he'll be able to transport him. And
that's actually a good sign.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the best sign we've gotten out of this whole situation.
Yeah. So they will be very gentle and delicate here with Brown, and off to, I'm guessing, Lakeland Regional, which is literally about 2 minutes from here. Was a patient there for 6 nights myself earlier this year, so can vouch for the quality of the staff at Lakeland Regional. And
that's not really an endorsement you really ever want to have to make.
No,
but when you have to make it, it's always nice to be able to make it.
I was there, and it's first rate, so affiliated with the Mayo Clinic and excellent medical facility, so I'm sure they will, that's where they'll head, and Brown will get checked out, and hopefully everything will be all right, and maybe we'll get a sign from Brown as he's taken from the arena here in just a couple of minutes. But
I did notice that the Lakeland Fire and Rescue gentleman was the one that's at where
head,
Rodrigo Brown's head is.
Yeah.
I believe he was cutting off his jersey, and it looks like they've taken off his shoulder pads as well. And now looks like they're going to put a collar on there just to around his neck just to keep him stabilized.
Yep, exactly right. As we said, there's very distinct and very distinct and specific protocols in this kind of a situation, and every Polk County Fire Rescue, and I'm sure every Lakeland Fire Rescue personnel is trained in these procedures, so. And the other good news is there doesn't appear to be anything else wrong with him. They haven't rendered any other medical aid other than just being very careful about whatever the back injury is and making sure that the movements are controlled and by the book. Gabrielle talking about the camaraderie on the Tornadoes, but we mentioned it just ironically a couple minutes ago, Mike, about the camaraderie. This is going to affect the Thunder, not equally, but it will affect them to have, you can see one of the Thunder players over there showing their immediate concern as well. And as we said, nobody plays this game to get rich or famous. It's entertainment, it's fun, and moments like this are not, but they happen.
You know, Marley Conley, number 55, standing there for the Thunder, kind of looking on and standing right next to a guy that he's competing against tonight. And there's no animosity at this point. There's no, you know, the game is secondary. And that's, you know, that's what to me true competitors are all about. You compete hard when the game is on, and at the end of the day, you shake your opponent's hand and you say, you know, job well done. Whether it's a close game, whether it's a blowout, you still have to respect your opponent. And you know, the concern being shown by, and, you know, as I mentioned, Lynette there from the Thunder staff, and you know, another Thunder player hanging out there. It's just everybody is trying to just, you know, be there for each other right now.
I think that is Ronnie Scott, who Gabrielle talked with a few minutes ago, that's also there on behalf of the Tornadoes. A lot of the players out on the field stretching and throwing a football and just doing what they can to also stay loose, because as we mentioned, when you've had a screeching halt like this for 20 or 30 minutes, it's almost starting from scratch again physically for the players that remain, and that's always
another halftime.
Always a greater threat for an injury that to themselves when they're in that situation. So getting stretched out and properly limbered, then you know, injuries can happen. So we'll see. And there is the thumbs up that we were hoping for, and that is the best news of all, as Brown will be checked out, but obviously that's a great sign to.
And they are going to take every step very slowly, very carefully. Yeah, we did see a hand movement. Their hands moves again.
Yeah.
Applause from his teammates as he's going off.
Yeah, Murray over there. Barnes
he did give a thumbs up.
He did, yeah. Yeah. Well, back to football here in just a minute. We'll reset the stage for you.
I'd imagine the officials are going to give the players a minute or two to, you know.
I would think, and I would hope. I don't know exactly what the what the protocol is to restart without any kind of a little more of a stretching. But as we said, the players were trying to keep themselves loose and ready to go when the situation was under control. So our thoughts and prayers and best wishes to Ricardo, but the signs were positive, and we'll hang our hat on that.
You know, and really now the test for the Tornadoes, not only as we get back to football and the score, now they've got to fight the emotion of losing a teammate like this, losing two perhaps.
Yeah.
Because it was Brown, and the play before that was Barris.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, unfortunately for the Tornadoes, it's come in waves tonight, and now you kind of want to just say, let's just get through the game.
Yeah.
Let's just finish.
Yeah. It's emotionally, you've got to check yourself back in, and that's quite honestly much easier said than done. Whether you're up 30, down 30, or doesn't really matter when you have the human element that injects itself in such a major way. Just really kind of gives everything a little perspective. As we said, resetting the stage here football-wise, the Tornadoes will have a fourth down. It's a 4th and goal at the 20. We have just over 10 minutes to play here in the third quarter, and it's been all Thunder as they lead it by a score of 33-3.
Yeah, the Thunder pushed them back on a defensive on a sack, or not a sack, excuse me, a busted run.
Yeah.
From the 9 back to the 20 on second down. Then you had on first down rather. Then the second down play was the incomplete pass to Barris where he injured his knee. The third down play was Rodrigo Brown over the wall.
Right.
So it's a tough spot to be in, and now they're going to try to get 3 out of it with Samaglia.
He's out there with a field goal try that'll come from his own about 23. Had a field goal right before half that has accounted for the Tornadoes' only points of the game so far. And we're still in delay here as the officiating crew still making sure everything is taken care of. One of the officials actually heading down towards the locker room area. I don't see Breon Carnes out there either at the moment, the Tampa Bay quarterback.
Looks like they're setting up to kick a field goal.
Yeah, that does that. Well, that's true. That's the reason he wouldn't be out there. Thank you. That makes sense. I have to check back in emotionally as well here.
Look, it's and
it shakes you up.
You say that jokingly,
no,
but it's the truth. We've got it. I mean, in our role here, which is very minor, but it's still we're trying to do the job as best we can, and you cannot ignore the human element.
Yeah.
And there's I'm right there with you. You're not alone, Brian.
They have turned the lights on in the tunnel behind our goal to the left, or our goalpost to the left, to transport Brown to Lakeland Regional, but again gave us the thumbs up as he was taken out on a stretcher here. And
the last official's back on the field now.
Yeah. So I think they were just waiting for make sure everyone was
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There were no people or players left in the tunnel that would have been vulnerable to any situation. So we are just about ready to get back into action here as Zach Samiglia, who has been responsible for the Tornadoes' only points here so far, will try and tack on 3 more.
My math is right. This should be a 34-yard field goal attempt.
That would be just about right. Although math was not my strong suit in school, so I'll leave that to you.
Oh, great. We're really suck.
We both became broadcasters because math was not our strong suit, I'm guessing.
My best math is adding 4s, 3s, 5s, 4s on a golf scorecard. That's where I want to keep it.
There you go. You get to do a lot of that in the Charlotte area, which is nice.
Well, I would imagine the golf down here is not so bad either.
Not bad. I live about 10 miles from Streamsong, which is an old phosphate mine. They converted into a world-class golf course.
Wow.
It's rated in the top 100 courses in America, and spectacular place.
Wow.
I can't tell. I lost at least a dozen balls the last time I played there. So, all right, here we go. Samaglia ready to tack on 3 more if he can split the uprights. Scott the holder. It's a good snap. The kick is on the way, and it is no good. Didn't really quite make the kind of contact with it that he wanted. And so just one more thing in the things that did not go right column for Tampa Bay tonight. Let's head down to the sidelines one more time. Here's Gabrielle Shirley.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I just talked to the Tornadoes head coach, Stevie Thomas, and he walked with Ricardo Brown Jr. all the way to that ambulance. He said he wasn't speaking. You guys saw him. He did give the thumbs up, so there is some movement. Thomas said, again, not speaking, but he was able to speak to him, and he said he gave him words of encouragement. He said, hang in there. It's all going to be okay. I asked Thomas, it's never easy to see that and then to continue to play. Do you think your team is going to be affected by that? Is it just a matter of compartmentalizing? And he said, yes, that's it right there. His team, they have to just put this on the back burner for a second. Of course, they're going to be worried, concerned about their teammate, but they still have more football to play. And right now, that has to be their focus. I'll send it back to you.
Great reporting, Gabby. Thank you very much for that update. And talking to Coach Thomas as Ham will take the handoff and get out to about the 13-yard line.
Kind of what you want to see from the Thunder offense there. First play after a long delay. Get a handoff into the arms of David Ham. Let him go for it. Let him just take it up the middle. Start your offense piece by piece.
Yep, just kind of get back into the flow here bit by bit. You're absolutely right. Cologne still in a quarterback. Going to guess he'll go the rest of the way in a half and half kind of format. Going to throw it deep down the left sideline, and that is overthrown. Mackey, the intended receiver, and he had kind of pulled up.
Mackey seemed like he was tangled up with the defender and then just kind of gave him a shove and then just kind of gave up on the play, and the ball sailed way out of bounds. Gabby almost made a catch though.
Yes, she did. It was right in her vicinity there. Just down a fan or two from where she's standing. Yeah, we'll let Gabby talk to the fan who's got a souvenir, at least for the moment. Cologne steps up, fires short, has a completion. That's Daniel Lee, but good defensive coverage that time by Ronnie Hardison will make it. Well, they're going to give him forward progress enough for a first down. Thought he might have got him just short.
I am here with Michael, a Tornadoes fan. You just caught a pass. Did you play football, sir?
No, I play basketball.
He's a basketball player. Would you believe that? Did you just follow it all the way? I mean, were you?
No, just looked it into the hands. Had to get that one from my boy, so thought I was going to get to keep it, but
Hey, that's a sweet memory right there. Thank you so much, sir. You guys, you heard it. He thought he was going to keep that souvenir. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but hey, that was a pretty good catch.
Well, it was a good catch. Maybe, Gabby, you can see if Coach Thomas can find a blank Tornadoes contract around the bench area someplace to sign him up. Little razzle-dazzle by the Thunder there, and that moves them into Tornado territory. Ball spotted at the 20-yard line.
Something that you don't see is the reverse.
Yeah, right.
In arena football, but they just ran that pretty well with Trey Lancaster taking the give from Cologne. Picks up a good chunk of yardage to bring up a second down play.
About 6 on the play. Cologne will send Mackey in motion. Going to look for Mackey deep. Not there, and he's going to eat the football. Jordan Guest got through there, and once Cologne didn't let it fly deep to Mackey, who was on the fly route, he had no option other than just eat the football.
Well, it's one of those, it's a coverage sack. I mean, it's good work down by the secondary, which is all the time that Jordan Guest needed to get free, coming off the delay, and then he's all over Cologne.
Third now and about 13, loss on the play of about 8. Cologne steps up, will look deep again. That one's a wobbler into the end zone, and it's incomplete. Hobbs, the defender for the Tornadoes.
I know the Charlotte Thunder fans are watching this thinking, where's the flag? I'm going to tell you, that's a good no call. Both players chicken fighting for that ball. They're
Jump
both trying, and they're both making a play on the ball, even though they're kind of holding each other off with an arm. I know Thunder fans, you want a flag there. That's a good no call. And they'll put Amaya out there for a field goal attempt.
Definitely a jump ball, so Amaya will kick it from his own 14. Snap from center is good. Ball is on the way, and that's going to be off the mark as well. Both wide and a little bit short. So Tampa Bay will get possession with 4.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter and in need of a bunch of points. At this point, a touchdown would be a moral victory. They have been 1 of 2 on field goal tries, and have not been able to find pay dirt either through the air or on the ground yet.
It's been a long time since this offense has been on the field, too. After the delay with the Brown injury, they kicked a field goal at an attempt. So it's been a while since they've had a chance to run a full play.
Murray and Jonell Barnes will split to the right. Now Barnes will go in motion. Carnes going to look underneath, and incomplete. Chris Murray, the intended receiver. Carlo Thomas on the defense.
Really no place for him to put that ball.
Good coverage by Thomas. Second and 10 now for Tampa Bay. Chad Rex will split out wide left. Murray and Barnes to the right. Snaps have been better from center. Pressure again. Carnes going to throw, and he has a completion, I believe. Yeah, they'll call it a good catch. Jonell Barnes right on the near sideline. I think he actually reached over the boards and brought that one back in. Great catch by Barnes.
Did a great job of making the catch, securing it, and also perhaps protecting the life of our scoreboard operator.
Yeah.
Because that was targeted for that man's left ear. So great piece of work there, and he may have saved a life in the process.
Well, thank you, Jonell Barnes. Appreciate your efforts there.
You know, it's all in a day's work. He didn't know.
Right.
He was just there, you know.
3rd and 3 now. Barnes in motion this side to the left. Carnes looking his way, going to scramble again. Now throws near sideline, and again a good completion. This one to Chad Rex this time. Very similar looking completion to the one play ago to Barnes, but Chad Rex is the receiver this time.
They're starting to find something available there along the wall now. And that's going to have to be an adjustment for the Thunder if they want to, because you know, in football, you run it till they stop it. So I keep running that. I keep running something that's going to force the left side of that Thunder defense to pay attention to the boundary, to pay attention to the wall.
And I'm sure one of the reasons that Tampa Bay's had some success underneath here the second half is Charlotte certainly wants to make sure they keep everything in front of them. They don't want any quick scores.
Sure.
They'll give up a touchdown or two, but if the Tornadoes run some time off the clock, that's quite all right. There's a pass. Touchdown, Tornadoes! Best throw of the night by Breon Carnes, and the main man for Carnes, it's Jonell Barnes. And Tampa Bay has its first touchdown of the game late here in the third quarter, but a pretty throw. Carnes had that one right on the money.
Wonderful play, well blocked. Great route by Barnes. I mean, it's the way you draw it up. That's the kind of execution that if we were there in the first quarter, we may have a much different scoreboard.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's exactly what they were hoping for early, and took them almost 3 quarters to finally find it.
But here's the thing. In this game, with it being 33-9 going for 2, this is not over by a long shot.
Motion now by Rex. Pitch left side. That is Ruiz, or rather Josh Hicks, and he just finds a wall of white and powder blue at about the 5-yard line, and that play is well short. Let's take a look at the replay on the touchdown, and as we said, Carnes laid that in there just beautifully.
Yeah, well blocked in the front, no real pressure on Carnes, and a wonderful throw just over the fingertips of Carlo Thomas and right in front of the defender, Gibson. And that's 6. And that's the way you draw it up. That's the way you execute it. And now you build on it.
And you're right. That was all 7 on the field doing their jobs for Tampa Bay. Carnes got the protection. Barnes ran the perfect route, got himself between Carnes and the defender, and Breon just laid it in there exactly where it needed to be. So 33-9 our score with 31 seconds or 30 seconds now to play in the third.
If you're Charlotte, I think you got to start being maybe be wary of a possible onside kick.
That, and the other thing is the Tampa Bay defense is going to have to just lay all out for turnovers now, because really that's the best way to get in. And look out. Not only did that hit the ceiling, it took out part of the light fixture.
No, that hit the fixture.
Yeah.
And it knocked some of the fillings out of it,
You're going to
that's
have
for
to
sure.
get the vacuum cleaner out for that. Do we have have a sponsorship from Hoover that they can bring the vacuum cleaner out to clean up the field? Because there's a lot of little pieces of glass out there.
All right, somebody called Dyson.
Yeah, right.
Or Hoover.
Shark? I mean, maybe an infomercial. I'm not sure. But we'll see here. This will cause another delay, though, here of I'm sure a couple of minutes. They're going to have to get some of the arena staff out here or somebody to come out and make sure they get as much of the glass off the midfield area here as they can.
Well, they have to.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned to you that the ceiling here at the RP Funding Center does, in fact, come into play on occasion, and that is the case here. That's the first time I've actually seen a light damaged.
And just off camera now, you can see some of the cleanup crew, and they're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, right. Brooms and
buckets.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't think they were expecting to be pressed into action exactly that way, but it'll work. So another delay here at the RP Funding Center.
I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot.
Well,
I've never seen this.
No, I have not seen this at this arena either. I've done indoor soccer here for 5 years. I've done several years now of arena football, and while I've seen it hit the roof on a number of occasions, I've not seen it take out a light. So that is a first for me as well. It's the home of the Florida Tropics, who play in the Major Arena Soccer League. They're getting there, I promise, but can still see. I mean, there's a lot of glass that came down.
Yeah, all these fixtures have at least 5 bulbs in them.
And it looks like it took out one of the bulbs, unless that's a burned out one. I don't know.
That's the one that they're sweeping up is the one that's missing from that fixture.
Yeah. All right.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the culprit.
And
and this is such
it's not just your average run-of-the-mill 60-watt household light bulb that broke here.
Yeah.
So.
And this is just such a, I mean, believe it, there's a lot of pressure on these young women with the brooms out there, because guys are going to be falling on this stuff.
Yeah, well, in all seriousness, you do. You've got to make sure you got pretty much everything that you can see, and then some. And they're still at it.
It looks like there's some more outside the circle there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I mean, we can still see it from up here, and if we can see it, then they can see it obviously as well. And they're gonna. It's not something you're gonna rush through here and make sure.
No, you can't rush through it. Absolutely right.
You maybe get most of it, or maybe don't. You've got to make sure you got it all. So crazy night here at the RP Funding Center, in all kinds of good and bad ways. But the Tornadoes, for the most part, would like a redo. Not that they'll get it. They will later in the season. There comes the vacuum cleaner. It's not exactly the size of the one I was hoping for, but and I'm not sure exactly where they're going to plug it in. But
we need a turf
unless
Zamboni.
It's battery operated, I don't know. Oh, I guess maybe it is, because they got it going. So
we need the turf Zamboni out here. Just
I know,
to zip
right?
through there and
right. Well, it is battery operated. That's the good news. I thought they were going to have to find a 100-foot extension cord to plug it in.
We should point out that this is a completely legal maneuver here by the home team.
Of course, yes.
Unlike, when they shoveled the path in New England all those years ago for the field goal. This has nothing to do with gameplay.
Yeah, my oh my.
They're just trying to lighten the mood. It's been a tough night in a lot of aspects. And of course the first top of the list is Ricardo Brown, hoping that he's okay.
Yeah, I don't think we'll probably get any more of an official update than what we got from Coach Thomas and Gabrielle Shirley, our News Channel 8 sideline reporter, who's always done a great job and got that information from Coach Stevie, and saw the thumbs up on the stretcher as Brown was taken out, and that will remain the image that Tornadoes fans will take much solace in and take away, if nothing else, from this game tonight. Discussion now between David Ham and Stephen Colon in the Thunder backfield.
They've changed back to Jalen McClendon, the quarterback.
You're right.
now.
They've gone back to McClendon now after a couple of series by Colon. So McClendon back in there with Ham on his left hip and all three receivers to the short side. Little fake to Ham, and now the give to Perry Floyd. Floyd still on his feet inside the 20, fights his way down to about the 16-yard line before he's finally wrangled to the turf by Terry Johnson. Thunder going deep into their playbook here tonight.
Floyd on the carry.
That's probably going to be the last play.
Just going to say will probably be the last play of the third quarter. Tornadoes finally on the board with their first touchdown of the game, but they still trail it by a score of 33-9. So 15 minutes left here in Central Florida tonight in this American Arena League game. It's the Charlotte Thunder 33, the Tampa Bay Tornadoes 9 back for the fourth quarter in just a moment. One of the Tornadoes fans should be happy tonight. They just announced the 50-50 jackpot total is up to pretty robust, $264. Unless you win it, Mike, and then
I didn't buy a ticket.
Oh, all right. Well,
I want to come back. I want you to invite me back later, at a later date.
Here's a throw to the end zone, and Mackey was all tied up by Hobbs, and the flag is out. No question about that one. I mean, Hobbs just about wrangled him and hog-tied him to the turf before the ball ever got there.
Yeah, really, preventing a touchdown, no question, but you can see he gets in there just a shade too early. He got a hold of the receiver's hands, and that's an easy call for the official back there.
It was.
Yeah, they're calling that defensive holding. They call that pass interference. I didn't see the signal yet.
I thought they gave the signal for defensive pass interference, but we'll see here. Could be either. Yeah. So it'll set up a 1st and goal at the 6. It's not a spot foul where they would mark it at the 1 since it was in the end zone, but it's a 10-yard penalty. And it does give Charlotte a 1st and 10 at the 6 of the Tornadoes now. Motion here by Lancaster. Give is the Ham. And Ham is going to drive towards the 3 and taken down finally there. Bentley easily among others in on the stop. Terry Johnson there as well.
What makes Ham so dangerous is the fact that he just keeps churning the legs. He dragged the pile forward another yard and a half there to get it down to the 2.5 yard line.
He's got that good running back build. stout without being, stocky, and he just is tough to bring down. Here's a quick throw to the near sideline. Mackey reaches for the goal line and is short by about a yard, I believe. Yeah, they're going to call him short. I think Mackey's knee hit before he had the extension towards the goal line, so they will mark him down at the 1. And it'll bring up 3rd and goal from there. So maybe David Ham time. What do you think, Mike?
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, it's
not a hard decision, right?
From the 1 yard line, that's their bread and butter play. It's just a matter of is it going to be a handoff or direct snap, and which way does it go?
They've done both here tonight, and it is McClendon going to keep it himself, and he will get in there. Flag is thrown.
I don't think those points are going to stay on the board. I think that's going to be a hold on the offense.
Did they say McClendon got in there? I think he did.
They did, yeah, he got in.
Okay, they did signal the touchdown, but you're right. It's a hold against the Thunder, and so those points will come off the board, and the ball will be marked back at the 11-yard line. Well, a good thing I did not put a brass farthing or 2 down on that play because I would have lost. No David Ham.
3rd down and goal to go.
But it looked like it was going to be Ham, so you weren't completely wrong.
Well, it looked like it was going to land on red, too, in Las Vegas the last time I was there, and it didn't. So here's a throw underneath, little tackle eligible, if you will, and did he get in, or are they going to mark him out at about the 1? Touchdown. Touchdown pass goes to Marley Conley, the offensive lineman. Well, I said the Thunder were going deep into the playbook, and I think they went to the last page on that one.
Yeah, that's not one you really look for. You don't really look for, Marley Conley, an offensive lineman, 6'5", 295 out of North Carolina Central, as an eligible receiver, but it's apparently in the playbook.
Apparently. So the Thunder extend their lead to 30 once again. And the extra point try coming now from Amaya. Long snap count here. Finally, they're ready. The kick is on the way, and the kick is good. So 40 on the board now for the Thunder with just over 12 minutes to go in this ball game.
It seemed like they were taking a long time on that extra point, but as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, extra points were a real. I mean, this is going to sound funny to say in an 84-12 victory last week, but special teams play was really, really a problem for the Thunder last week. So taking your time, execute it properly, good snap, good hold, good kick, and you go on. So
and on behalf of the Tornadoes, I say to that, boo-hoo.
But
I understand what you're saying. You want to work on things when you get the chance.
It's a matter of execution. It's a matter of getting it right.
I get it.
And making sure that you're doing things the right way.
I get it.
And because you want to build.
Yeah.
The Tornadoes on the touchdown play. That's something they're going to take back and they're going to look at and say, yeah, this is how we can play when we are executing. They're going to look at a lot of this game and say, this is how we played when we weren't executing. It's a learning experience.
Yeah, and it's still early in the year. And
Absolutely.
You're right. You want to learn under game conditions how you're going to do things, how you're going to react. And as we said, Charlotte's reacted better tonight than Tampa Bay has. Been really almost that simple. Hicks going to take it from just about as deep in the end zone as he could make it, and he gets out to the 10. And that's where he runs into a couple of Charlotte special teamers.
That ball was coming out, too, at the end. I don't know if you saw that before he was finally tackled down, I should say. Almost burped a little bit of white out of those arms. He was able to hold on to it and maintain possession.
I think it was Taywan Warren who made the stop. In there is the linebacker now for Charlotte. Ball placed at the 11. Tornadoes will go on offense there. Barnes will split wide left. In the slot left is Chris Murray. Rex wide to the right. Carnes to throw it.
Oh.
Steps up and will never get the chance. Stepped right into pressure, and the sack from Jimmy Thomas.
Just so strong coming off the edge there. I mean, it's just so difficult to stay with your block that long when it's basically a bull rush off of that right side of the line.
Boat rush is exactly what it was, and Carnes never really had much of a chance to survey the situation down the field and see where he might have thrown it. So a loss on the play of about 7. Carnes from his own goal line will step up again. Fires, has a completion this time. Chris Murray out at the 20 near a first down, and he's taken down there. He'll be short of the yard to gain line by about a yard, but a nice completion as Chris Murray hauls it in.
Nice play there by Carnes, stepping up when the pressure was getting there. Stepped in, makes the nice throw across, and then the yards after catch, hard fought. He had 4 defenders around him. He was still able to pick up an added yard or 2 just to get it to the 19 and a half, almost 20-yard line.
3rd, and we'll call it a long one. Inside 10 minutes to play here in the 4th. Hicks will be in the backfield with Carnes to his left. Murray and Barnes out split left. Now the roll and the throw, and that's into the first row of seats, literally, behind the Tampa Bay bench. Sideline report from Gabrielle Shirley. Gabby, take it away.
Brian, I talked to Jonell Barnes, and I asked him after he scored that touchdown on the Tornadoes' last offensive possession, I said, hey, this game's going tough for you guys. Does that make it any better, scoring a touchdown? He had 4 touchdowns, of course, in the last game, the most he's ever scored in his football career. And he kind of gave me a half smile and said, yeah, it makes it better. There's still a lot more time. We can still keep going, got to stay motivated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then he added, oh, and by the way, that was for our fallen soldier. Those were his words. He said that he scored that touchdown for the player that left on that stretcher, Ricardo Brown Jr. He said, he's my guy. I told him I was going to score a touchdown for you. He said that as he was getting wheeled off the field into that ambulance. And then Barnes said to me, and you know what? I think I'm going to score 2 more. I want to score 3 for him because, of course, he's number 3. Send it back to you guys.
Nice sentiment from Jonell Barnes, and thank you for sharing that, Gabrielle.
That's a tall order after the turnover on downs.
It is, but something to shoot for.
Absolutely. Oh, no, absolutely.
And it looks like Cologne will be back in at quarterback now for Charlotte. He's pretty good size, too. Maybe not quite as big as McClendon, but I wouldn't want to meet him on a football field or a basketball court.
Yeah, 6'2", 200. He's lanky.
Handoff this time to Ham, and he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. The Tornadoes turning it over on downs there on that incomplete pass on 4th down.
Yeah, Steph Cologne is Glenville State, lanky guy, very quick feet. I like it when watching him play. I like seeing him escape the pocket and use his legs to move the ball upfield. But he can put the ball, he can throw guys open, and that's what, he's not going to really throw a bunch of ropes in there, but he will make completions where he's throwing to an area, let his receivers go get it, and put it in a spot where a defender can't get to it. It's one of his great talents.
2nd, and we'll call it 9. A little bit of a high snap. Look to the end zone, and that is a great catch. That is a tremendous touchdown catch by Daniel Lee, who does the backflip in celebration. And why not Daniel Lee? That is a tremendous catch. That is a much better catch than it looks, because he was right there at the end wall and had to concentrate on the football just mere inches from the wall.
It was what I was talking about. just throwing it to a spot, throwing it open, throwing Daniel Lee open to that one spot. Basically say, run to the Price chopper sign, I'll hit you.
And that's exactly what he did. I mean, that was perfectly thrown, and great concentration by Lee in very tight quarters there to hang on. So give credit to Lee for that. All Charlotte here tonight. This will be a lick your wounds kind of game for the Tornadoes, and we'll see if they can find some answers later on here this year. Extra point try. The snap was not clean, so a throw to the end zone, and why not? It's gone all Charlotte's way tonight, and Carlo Thomas, they're going to say he dropped it. Okay. Well, that's about the only thing that hasn't gone Charlotte's way. Thought he had it. Was that our boy Conley again?
It was. I'm just laughing at the fact that he tried so hard to keep it off the turf. And yes, it was Conley, 55.
That's what I thought.
But it was Carlo Thomas, rather, making the throw.
Right.
Which was the real shocker that, Thomas seemed to double clutch on the snap.
Yeah, it was a good snap, looked like.
And it was almost like he Lucy Van Pelted Charlie Brown right there, and pulls it away and tries to make the completion to Conley, and it falls on the turf. And poor Conley, you can see him swatting at the football, trying to keep it off the grass.
I thought he had it, so.
But to no avail. Look, it's an early flight back to Charlotte, but there will be plenty of chatter tonight about Conley's evening as an offensive weapon.
They will relive those plays for sure. I'd say it was William Perry-esque, but the refrigerator did it all on the ground usually, and Conley's done it through the air.
You're right.
This one sent towards, it's not Hicks back there. That was the wide receiver, Chad Rex, who kind of slipped and fell at about the 8-yard line. So it'll be first down for the Tornadoes there. Well, fans will get a chance to meet former Tampa Bay Buccaneer great Michael Clayton after the ball game tonight and get some autographs. So they're staying around for that. Thank Michael for making his way over to Lakeland tonight. Does a great job with all of his pre- and post-game coverage on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we thank him for giving us a few minutes of his time at halftime here tonight as well. Barnes gets the snap from center. The snaps have been better this quarter. That's the good news, or this half. And a completion out to Chris Murray across the 15. And now a Thunder player shaken up there. Looks to be Devontae Adams, and he's going to be okay, I guess. Maybe more frustrated than hurt as he got in there and tried to take a shot at Carnes just before he let it go. Second and one now for the Tornadoes at their own 17. Three wide receivers all to the left. Pitch goes right this side. That is Ruiz. He doesn't find the going any easier either. Tornado fans want a flag on the play for a little toasty tackle, but they will not have any laundry forthcoming, and Ruiz did get just enough for a first down.
Thunder defense really feeling themselves right now, and but again, it goes back to the earlier part in the game with the unnecessary roughness penalty. You got to make sure you don't cross the line, and that's something these coaches are going to emphasize going forward. Look, it doesn't matter what the score is, you still got to be composed, you still got to stay in the game.
Yeah, if you'd have told me with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter that Charlotte had 46 points, another bad snap, so I just jinxed them on that. Here's a throw down the field, and that is a pretty interception. And we'll see how far number 5, John Gibson, can take it back. He's finally spilled at about the Tornado 22. I was about to say, if you'd have told me with 3.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Charlotte had 46 points, I would have said we had a ball game on our hands. But the Thunder defense just too difficult to solve here tonight, and Gibson kind of puts a cherry on that Sunday.
But again, it was aided by a poor
Great
snap.
pass, yeah, poor snap.
It started on the offensive side, a poor snap, and give Carnes a lot of credit for escaping the pressure, escaping his safety.
Yeah.
He was almost taken down there, and then he tries to make something out of nothing, and you're just wanting to make a play at this point. So I don't fault him for making that throw. He wasn't just throwing it to Gibson. He had a man down there. Gibson made a heck of a play to make the interception and bring it back across midfield.
That was an athletic interception by Gibson, to be sure. And I think that's the first time I can remember this half where we've had that bad a snap. We saw it.
It was cleaned up, correct.
4 or 5 times in the first half,
yeah.
and that put the Tornadoes really behind the 8 ball early and often.
Yeah, it has been cleaned up offensively in the second half for sure.
Ham with the hand up from Cologne, still on his feet, and finally stopped at about the 25. Here's the replay on the interception by Gibson. Man, that was really good work by Gibson at the goal line there.
I mean, he didn't even go to the turf. He
No.
landed on his feet and put a hand down to stay
very
up.
athletic. Very well done. So we'll just play out the string here, the final 2.5 minutes, in what was less of a ball game than what we were hoping, to be perfectly honest. But we'll see if Tampa Bay will learn from this and go forward in a better way. As Cologne, that may have slipped, I'm not sure. Just kind of threw that one to no one in particular.
I think the intended receiver was in the second row.
Daniel Lee was kind of there, but.
Well, you're nice. I don't know that play was actually in the book.
Yeah,
I'm
not sure that was.
Yeah, that was not normal.
Not what they were had called in the huddle. I'm quite certain of that. Third down, and we'll call it 12. Final minute and a half here at the RP Funding Center. Charlotte Thunder will improve to 3-0. Pass is completed at the 15. And again is Lee on the reception, and a flag is down as Ronnie Scott was in on the stop.
It's going to be a horse collar tackle.
I think you're probably right.
He tried to get off of it, though. He got him up high and pulled, but then let the hand go off the shoulder pad area. But by then it was too late. Oh.
Well, I guess he got a piece of the face mask. He was up around that collar face mask area. They're going to call it face mask. Not that it matters a great deal which it was. It'll march it all the way down to the 5 either way, and that's where the Thunder will try and add perhaps their final points of the night. It'll be Cologne at quarterback. And somebody going to take a timeout here. Oh, that's the 1 minute warning. That's right.
Yeah, Thunder really in no hurry to run a play. I mean, there's nothing left to do here, but you can't take a knee, because if you take a knee, the clock doesn't move. You have to be moving the ball forward. So if you just go ahead and run it, David Ham up the middle, just little dives. Not even really trying to score at this point. He's just trying to burn the clock down.
Ham will line up to Cologne's left here. 2 wideouts left, 1 to the right. And is Lancaster to the right here, the near side. Cologne sending his man in motion to the right side now. There's the give off to Ham at the 5, and he's taken down right there.
Ham on the carry. Brought down by Rashard Simmons.
And it was Devin Mackey that was in motion, and his whole path was to find a linebacker and block. That's it. He wasn't trying to get downfield. and you want to see those guys moving, but in that situation, it was a wonderfully designed play that really accomplished its goal. Move the ball forward and keep the clock rolling. This is likely the last snap of the game.
Likely will be. Rashad Simmons made that last stop with a little help from a couple other Tornado defenders. Here's a quick throw and a completion, and Jordan Guest stops that play dead after about a 2-yard gain. And that should do it. I don't believe the Thunder, as Trey Lancaster made the catch, and that will do it here, I think, for, well, they're going to stop the clock. And I believe Charlotte, for unknown reasons, has called a timeout, other than maybe they just want to run one more play.
No, it was an injury timeout for Mackey. He landed awkwardly on his head and neck and was a little slow to get up. And so he was slow to get up. He got up and then basically took a knee. Officials called the timeout.
Yep, you're right.
And I don't know that they're going to get a playoff because
they will
the whistle should wind the clock, and that's it.
Do wind the clock, and that will do it here tonight at the RP Funding Center. Well, we thought it would be a little better performance than what it turned out to be. Give Charlotte a lion's share of the credit for that, Mike, but the Tornadoes in the final analysis really just never gave themselves a chance. They were their own worst enemy. Too many mistakes, not necessarily turnovers, just mistakes on the snap from center and bobbled footballs, and too much to overcome. They just never got any momentum on their side the entire game, and credit to Thunder for that. But I don't think Charlotte came in expecting to win by almost 40 tonight. I think that's a bit of a surprise, and credit to Thunder for their effort for that.
Well, certainly you credit the Thunder for getting the job done. But again, we said it earlier in the broadcast that the Tornadoes were honestly a team that just were not crisp from the start in executing their offense. Bad snaps, handoffs that were less than crisp. If they were a little sharper on their game in the first half, we might be talking about a much different outcome in the ball game. But as it turns out, the Thunder didn't really do anything amazing. They just did. The biggest play they had was the late touchdown pass from Cologne to Daniel Lee, where he ran to the.
Yeah, that was the nicest touchdown they scored all night. You're right.
But other than that, they just took advantage of the opportunities presented to them. And full marks to this coaching staff. They battled through a pretty tough week, and this team doesn't get an opportunity to practice indoors often because their arena that they play at, they don't have the time there as often as they'd like. So this is a group that really gets their arena action on game day. And so this is a big start for this Thunder franchise. They've now given up a grand total of 33 points all season long in 3 games.
One last time, let's send it down to the sidelines. Here's Gabrielle Shirley.
I'm here with Jermaine Smith, the co-defensive coordinator. Jermaine, what does this win mean to you, especially because you guys traveled here without your head coach and 2 other members of the coaching staff who weren't able to travel due to COVID-19 protocols?
Just big win. Very excited about the win. Guys came out to play, gave maximum effort. I know these guys, my coaches were able to look at the game and experience it from where they were. And I know they're proud of this team. So I'm very happy, very pleased with our performance.
When you see them, what do you think when you talk to them? What are they going to say about this win?
Oh, I'm sure I'm going to get a big hug. Big hug from my brothers. They entrusted me with this team. Like I said, we go hand in hand. With those 4 guys, anybody can step in and be the head coach. We're close, we're tight, we love each other, and we're going to perform no matter who's here.
And where do you go from here? Because there were plenty of positives to take away from this game, but as a coach, of course, you're always looking for ways to improve. Where do you go from here? What are you going to focus on in the coming days, weeks for the next game?
Well, we'll go analyze film and see the things that we need to clean up. And, from there, we'll go forward into next week. So we take it week by week.
Great. Thanks, Coach, and congrats on the win.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys, I'll send it back to you in the booth.
Spoken like a true coach. Take it week to week, but it was impressive, and as you said, they will enjoy the win tonight. And for Tampa Bay, the frustration really it was the simple things. I mean, forget about the fancy things and the execution. They just never gave themselves a chance to execute at all with any kind of consistency. And so they'll lick their wounds and hopefully learn from the experience. And the next time these two clubs meet up in Charlotte later in the year, maybe a different experience. But for the Thunder, they've got to be very pleased at 3-0 and certainly their most complete win.
Yeah, there's no question about it. This was billed as the toughest competition that they would see to date. And again, the score I don't think really indicates a great performance by the Thunder. I consider this one a workmanlike performance by Charlotte, doing the things that they needed to do to win the game. They weren't flashy, they weren't fancy. They just played a straightforward game, taking advantage of what mistakes were made by Tampa. And again, when you're able to do that and you pick up a win and you get out, make the first road trip of the season a success, you just kind of take it, you put it in the win column, you go on to next week.
Yeah, certainly credit for the Thunder. They did everything they needed to do. As you said, wasn't necessarily fancy and wasn't overly exciting at times, but it was effective, and Tampa Bay just could not get out of their own way. So the Tornadoes will look to regroup. They fall to 2-1, still a very good start to the season, but not what they were anticipating tonight. We do not have any additional updates on Ricardo Brown, but we certainly are hopeful and heartened by the fact that when he was taken off the field, or actually from the sidelines after he flipped over the sideboards and appeared to hit his lower back on a chair, they brought in the paramedics, they stabilized the situation, and when he was taken from the arena, did flash the thumbs up, did see some other movement, and so very positive in that regard, and we will continue to send our best thoughts and wishes and prayers to Ricardo for no further damage and no situation that's a long-term problem for him, just to hopefully can get checked out, maybe spend a night in the hospital and be good to go soon, and we'll see how that plays out. We'll certainly have an update for you on that on the Tornadoes, I'm sure, social media sites, and the next time we talk to you on the Tornadoes broadcast as well. So the final, once again, here tonight from the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, it is the Charlotte Thunder 46 and the Tampa Bay Tornadoes 9. Mike, thank you so much for sitting in with us. Safe travels back to Charlotte. Good luck to you and the Thunder for the rest of the season, and we will see you back here with Tornadoes football soon. Until then, everyone, be well, be safe, have a great weekend, everybody.